What is shaking? Hope everybody's having a great Friday. Welcome to Friday Hour Happy Hour in the backyard. Our guest today, one of my good friends. Been talking to Matt for over 20 years. Matt Maiocco of NBC Sports Bay Area. I could go through the whole list of who he's written for and what he's done stuff for, but that will take up a lot of time.
At this point, I don't even remember.
You don't even remember? No, you don't.
No,
you don't care. That's okay. You got your beer gear on.
I do.
Which I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Your Udapils hat, which was a place in Minnesota.
And a recommendation, you and Craig Bergman said, go to this place. After that week 2 game, 49ers and the Vikings last year, went there. It was great. And then the
Treehouse
sweatshirt, my daughter, who's in attendance, just graduated from University of New Hampshire. So when we were back there, my wife and I went to Cape Cod and went to Treehouse, which is in Sandwich, or at least the location we went to, Sandwich, Mass, and brought back a case of beer. Have you ever tried to travel with a case of beer?
I don't think I have.
I don't think I have. We're stuffing cans in. We had so many different bags, and we were stuffing cans. Check luggage, and just had to make sure that none of those bags weighed over 50 pounds.
Yeah. Now, I should say this. I've never traveled with a case, but when I go on road trips at the end of the year with the Warriors, there's a little bottom, and you could unzip it. I don't know what it's for. Maybe probably for shoes. So you put shoes in there, and it's not part of the bulk of the bag. So I unzipped that, and I did. Last trip I went on, I did get 16 beers in there.
Yeah, impressive.
Yeah. So,
but see, that's different because you're flying charter,
exactly.
So you don't have to
zip on, off, and boom, refrigerator, good to go. Although the fridge was one of those fridges where, if you move something just a half an inch, you get charged for it.
Yeah.
So I had to be careful, because I couldn't lift it out. So I just put as many beers in there as I could. I got like 3 in, and then every time I'd have one, I just put another one in, one, put another one in, and we were there 5 nights. So
you're charged $600 at the end of the stay.
I wasn't charged anything, thank God. I was going, here, I got
it. Tetris.
Yeah, I got it. The seal is. It's intact. What do you do? You can't charge me $700 for this bottle of. Speaking of, you'll love this. So my son he was in Vegas last Friday for a bachelor party. They went to Scottsdale, drove to Vegas from Scottsdale, which my reply was, why don't you just fucking go to Vegas then? Why don't you try to Vegas from Scottsdale? He goes, don't. He goes, they just, whatever. So he said he went with his good friend Elvedin, and they went. And Elvedin's actually getting married.
Here's to Elvedin.
To a bar, absolutely. And by the way, we are drinking Wondrous Flower House. So that's over in Emeryville over there.
Sponsor, obviously.
Yeah, not yet. We're hoping to grab some beer sponsors at some point, but we're going to be making our way through some beers today. So we'll be splitting all the proceeds or beers. So they're at a club in Vegas, and I know my brother told me this. He lives in Vegas. He said that's how casinos make a lot of their money now, in the club, because people don't gamble as much as they used to. Yeah. So to get into the club, $85, and then he ordered him and his friend Elvin a drink. Elvin got a big drink. There's like vodka and pineapple juice or something like that, and then Weston got a smaller drink. Wild guess. What do you think for a large drink and a regular drink?
Well, I mean, if I were to give you I'm assuming it's going to be big, but I'd say like $25 and $15, so $40.
Close. You're just about $100 off.
Oh, geez.
$130. $130. I'm like, are you kidding me? Now, you could have bought like 4 or 5 bottles of vodka.
That's
for
on
that.
top of the $85 cover charge.
Yeah, that's $200. Boom, right there.
Wow.
See ya. Yeah. I would have been like, water's good for me then. I'm sorry, I can't do that.
It's been a while, but at the tables, they comp you, right?
Yeah, because that feeds into the. I mean, look, it's all part of the algorithm now. But everybody's always known this. You go to Vegas, You get drunk, you're looser with your money.
Yeah.
And you're just going to play differently when you're looser. You're not thinking as clearly. So, but you go to the sports book now and bet. Before, if I bet like $500 on a game, they give me a book of drink tokes. Just like, here, take them. Now one. And then if you don't have a drink toke, you go to the bar for a Coors Light, $12. That's a $72 fucking. No, I got your Coors. I got your Coors Light in there. I've hit it. I'm taking it hostage. It's not coming back out.
You're going to use it to water the plants back here.
It's not coming back out. Yeah. That's a $72 12-pack, by the way, of Coors Light. So yeah, it's awful. Anyway, enough about Vegas. Let's get to football and get to the Niners. And 30 years.
Yeah.
30 years you've been doing this. Wow.
I know.
So was your first year Steve Young's Super Bowl year that year?
Yeah. Well, I was doing like backup stuff. So when I moved to the Bay Area and was covering sports, I was covering like high school sports.
Yep.
I was kind of moving up the ladder a little bit. And so there were a couple years there where I'd only go to 49ers camp one day a week.
Okay.
And then I'd go to all the home games and I'd be writing sidebars, everybody would get their pick on what stories to do. This is in the days that we'd have 6 reporters there for the newspaper and, everything would be 49ers, a dozen or more stories on the same game. And so did a couple years of that. And then when the Raiders moved back in 95, the 49ers beat opened and I became the 49ers beat reporter for the Oakland Tribune at that point. And so although I covered them in 92, 93, 94, my first year of full-time year-round, nothing but 49ers was 95. So, which coincides with
that was a good year.
The first, 95 was the year after the Super Bowl.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
So the 95 season.
So there are those who like to pin the 30-year Super Bowl drought on me.
Man, no, I could see that. I could see that. Well, there could be something to that.
There could be. Greg Papa reminds me of that pretty much every time I'm on with
him. There definitely could be something to that. Although I don't remember the Raiders winning a whole lot when he was there.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know when he came on board with the Raiders, but they didn't win a whole lot when he was there. And come to think of it, the Niners haven't won a whole lot since he's been there either. So,
yeah,
it's not like he has rings.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
He was with the Warriors. They didn't win until after he left. So,
boy, now it's starting to all come together.
Giants. He was with the Giants after he left. Boom.
Yeah.
3 World Series. So maybe you want to bring that up to him.
Did they win one? The A's won one when he was? Would he have been? I don't know.
Was he with the 8? Oh, you know what? He might have been.
Maybe.
He might have been, because I remember when I played for the Warriors, they have that tunnel between the Coliseum and the Oakland. Well, I guess they were both the Oakland Coliseum or Oakland Arena, whatever.
Oakland Alameda County Coliseum.
Yeah.
And Oakland Alameda County Coliseum Arena.
It's like the LA Angels of Anaheim, Angels. It's one of those stupid things. So, yeah, you know what? He might have been. He might have been for that. So, if so, I apologize. I got my facts wrong. So, whatever. Makes for a better story the other way. Makes for a better story the other way. So you were there the year after, and then it's been a little bit of a while. Let's get to a couple of the things that have happened recently. I want to go through some stories and stuff too. But so Brock Purdy signs $53 million. I don't really get into the AAV just because that's in football. Yeah. It's not baseball. It's not basketball. It's not all guaranteed. But the guaranteed money was like 181. And I looked this up, and
it's so different. Like like if he, the way I say it is, if he can't play anymore, if he does not complete another pass in his career, and the 49ers decide after 17 straight interceptions they're going to cut him, he still gets $100 million.
$100 million.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, but in practical 115, there's all this like, well, if he's still on the roster on April 1, then his next year is guaranteed. So that's how that 181 is.
Oh, okay.
But the actual like guaranteed at time of signing, $100 million.
Okay, got it.
Which still not too bad.
No. No, absolutely not. And the one I looked at was when he signed, what he's going to make per year takes up 19% of the salary cap, which when I looked at all the other quarterbacks, they were usually between 20 and 24. Yeah. So it seemed like everybody got a pretty good deal out of this.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. And it kind of seemed to me like, Kittle, if he wanted to, he could have done some stuff to get more money.
Yeah.
Which maybe he did on his first contract.
Yeah.
Warner could have gotten more money, like he did on his first contract.
Yep.
And then Purdy again could have pushed it.
Seems like he really could have, right? Because they didn't have a lot of their options.
No, he could have gone. If he was all ego driven, give me $55.1 million a year. Whatever.
Yeah.
He could have gone further up there, but I think he just got to the point where those guys are all really good guys, and I think they knew that they were getting life-changing money. In the case of Kittle and Warner, they already have their life-changing money, I think.
Yeah.
And for Brock, any way you slice it, he becomes the highest paid player in franchise history.
Yeah.
And for a guy who made less than $3 million total for his first 3 years in the league, that's not bad.
It's going to buy a lot of corn.
That's not bad. It's going to buy a lot of corn. I don't think he needs to invest in a leg machine. Have you seen he's like mini Bosa. I posted something.
Is he really?
Oh my God. His quads are
massive,
enormous.
Really?
Yeah. It's crazy. So he doesn't need to do that, but I just think that at some point, I don't know. I've never been paid 50 million to 50 to 60 million, but I wouldn't imagine there's a whole lot of difference other than having it kind of ego driven at that point.
I think it's all ego driven.
If you're
and your agent doing it,
yeah,
pushing you.
Yeah.
And then in some sports, I think it's the union pushing you so you can get other people to top that one and then top that one. So no, I thought it was it just, again, it seemed like a really good deal for both parties.
I think so.
It really did.
It doesn't seem like it hamstrings the 49ers. I think they can still do a lot of stuff they wanted to do. They did cut some costs at the start of the free agent signing period, but I think it was all kind of under the idea that these 3 contracts would get done and they would be one of the highest spending cash over cap teams this offseason too. Yeah. So when you think about those 3 contracts that they signed, I don't know that any other team signed 3 guys to those kinds of contracts this offseason.
Yeah. Now I can't wait till he throws his first pick against Seattle. Everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, 53 is too much. I told you." Are we ever going to stop litigating whether Brock Purdy is good or not? Or is it because I don't know if people truly believe it or they know it makes good copy and people are interested because people, I won't say like me, because I just like, whatever. Like I saw enough a year and a half ago that this guy's really good. Like he can lead your team to a Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl for you. And I got tired of look at all the weapons. Like, didn't Peyton Manning have a lot of weapons and Kurt Warner have a lot of weapons? Like, there's a lot of quarterbacks that have a lot of weapons. Jordan needed weapons to help him win a championship in Chicago. So
I would say darn near, I would say every quarterback in the Hall of Fame had a lot of weapons.
Maybe one exception is a couple of those Brady teams. He didn't have the premium, and then he got the premium weapons and didn't win. Yeah. So maybe he thrived off not having those. But are we ever going to stop litigating this? Like, is Brock, because he was the last pick of the draft, is everybody going to ever let that go and just say, look, who cares where he's drafted? We've seen him play now. We know he's good. Let's judge him on that, not judge him on what you think you knew heading into the draft where you thought, well, something's got to be wrong with him. Aren't we past that now?
Yeah, I think there are 2 things at play. One is that he was chosen 262. So how good can he be if 31 teams passed on him 7 times and and 49ers passed on him at least 6 times. So how good can he be? And also, 3 things. What he does well isn't real measurable and it doesn't pop out, like the arm strength.
Yeah.
That doesn't pop out. His size doesn't pop out. His running ability doesn't pop out. What pops out is when you go back and you rewatch his good plays and you stop, like when he's here and you stop it and you look on the, all 22 and you go, who the hell is he throwing it to? And you it looks like everybody's covered. And then he ends up throwing to a spot where nobody is. And then his receiver ends up going to that spot and catching the ball.
Yeah.
It's those plays that are just, I think, separate him. I don't know how many quarterbacks do that, because I mean, we watch Brock Purdy. I've seen obviously more Brock Purdy in the last 3 years than any other quarterback, but it's those kinds of plays. Our friend Steve Young always told me when I was covering him, he's like, a quarterback in the NFL doesn't throw to the open receiver. He throws the receiver open.
Yeah.
And frankly, I had no idea what he was talking about for about 20 years.
Yep.
And not even really him, because a lot of times it's Jerry Rice running wide open down the field. And it wasn't until you watch Purdy and you go, oh my gosh, that's what he's talking about. It's like knowing the play call, knowing the defense, the adjustments off the defense, and then trusting your guy's going to be there.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's two things. The third thing is taking the contrarian viewpoint on Brock Purdy sells.
Yeah.
People can't get enough of that, because it either angers them or they go, I agree. And so that's how you get the clicks. That's how you get the views, by saying Brock Purdy ain't all that.
Yeah.
And I honestly believe most of those people don't believe a word they're saying. Their own, I don't think that they really buy into what they're saying.
I think some of them might. I really do. I mean, I don't know how, but I don't know how you look at yourself at night. You're just like, I don't believe this shit, but I'm going to say it anyway.
There are a lot of people. Come on,
because it gets ratings. I know, but it's like, I don't know how they do it. I really don't. I mean, I guess you walk into a really nice house and drive a nice car home and all that, but still, it's just like, you're like fraudulent. Right? Yeah. You're just like, I don't really believe this, but I'm going to say it because this is what people want to hear. And you get frothing at the mouth and all that kind of stuff. No, it's crazy. All right, let me ask you about McCaffrey.
Yeah.
We got any beers in there, by the way? I'm out. Yeah. I'm out.
You're out already?
Let's go. No. I gave you a bigger pour than I had. Because you're my guest.
This is the flagship beer from Treehouse called Julius.
Oh, fantastic. I've had this before. This is very, very good. And as soon as Matt finishes his, you can have my leftovers here. So hopefully it won't have too much saliva mixed in.
Perfect. Well, you're not going to be drinking it out of the can, are you?
I don't know. What's that over there?
So Christian McCaffrey
last year was just...
Wow, you gave yourself a lot of head there.
Man. Thank you. I'm really not that flexible. I got to be honest with you.
Looks like you've had a lot of practice.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, your daughter's here. Come on. Don't embarrass me. Me, both of us. I kind of led myself into that one though, didn't I? With the pour. So what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Last year was just a mess. I mean, I think we all knew from the beginning this thing's going to be a lot longer than I didn't know it was going to be that long. Yeah. But it just the calf and the whole last year was a mess, right? Yeah. Ayuk, Trent Williams, McCaffrey. It was a mess.
I'd say everything but like Kittle and Lenore. Those are about the only two guys that, because even Purdy, Purdy threw 12 interceptions. I can't think of. I think, as I recall, like Kittle and Lenore were the only two guys who really, even Warner. Well, he's playing with a broken ankle. But he didn't. He wasn't.
Jennings was pretty good.
Yeah.
Jennings was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And I can't think of his name right off the top of my head because he went to Minnesota, the running back.
Jordan Mason.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was good. Yeah. But no, I mean, I know what you're talking about. Like, we're above and beyond.
The guys who were the stars of the Super Bowl team.
Yes.
Like, almost none of those guys produced.
Yeah. So where do you think McCaffrey's at this year? Everybody says he's healthy, but he's 29.
Yeah.
I can't imagine he can do any more to get himself prepared for a season. You see the videos every now and again will pop up and him working out. You just look at his body. You're just like, of course, this guy's like a maniac about, I'm sure, about nutrition, about sleep, about working out. It just happens. And I think if he's healthy this year, he's still the engine on that offense. Like he drives everything that they do and then can do off of what defenses try and contain him.
Yeah.
What are your expectations of him this year?
I would say not only the engine of the offense, I'd say the engine of the entire team.
Really?
Because what he does when he's a factor on all downs. The longer that offense is on the field, the better the defense is.
Yep.
Has them well rested. I think he is without question the key to this team. I don't know, at some point it just becomes kind of a leap of faith to think that he's going to be anywhere near what he was in 2023 because of what we saw last year, or what we didn't see last year. Everything seems to be pointing in the right direction, but I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
You said it yourself. He's 29 years old. So how much longer? I mean, last year was probably turns out to be a great break for him in the sense that once he got healthy and got on the field, he had 3 not great games. And then the 4th game, he looked like his old self. He looked really good. It was on that snowy night in Buffalo.
Yep.
Where it looked like he was taking that one play to the house and gets tripped out, lands on his knee. And so I guess the silver lining for that was that no more wear and tear on his body for the final 4 or 5 games of the season. And also the injury wasn't anything that has any carryover. So the knee is fine. The knee was never an issue as far as, could this be something that lingers to 2025? And it gives him a chance to maybe rest those Achilles and get them right for the season. So he's out there practicing. He looks fine. He looks, a couple, wasn't this last practice, but the practice before, the week before, it was a play like very early where, he's running around those choice routes out of the backfield. I always do this when I say choice routes out of the backfield. And if you don't know what a choice
kind
route
of the wiggle,
it's it's Kenny Lofton, the point guard, right? It's like breaking a guy down off the dribble, and the quarterback kind of locks on that guy out of the backfield, and wherever McCaffrey takes the route, Brock reads it, and it's an impossible pattern to cover. What the hell is that? Is that a
crow? Not a raven, a crow.
Okay.
They're different things, by the way.
Not a seagull.
No, not a seagull. Okay. Although we have seagulls, but we have crows in the neighborhood. That's all we have, though. Thank goodness, no birds of prey.
Okay, that's good.
Because then the bunny
would.
We don't need the bunny running into an owl or a hawk or We had a couple bald eagles around here over at the golf course.
Yeah.
But they didn't mess with the bunny, so I don't need to come out here and see the bunny flying away.
That's very American of that eagle to not mess with the bunny.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with the bunny.
So anyway, McCaffrey, he looks good.
Yeah,
I mean, he looks good. Like that play I was talking about. He blasts out of the backfield, puts a move on D Winters, kind of hits it up the seam. Purdy puts it on him, and then he kind of high steps it, and looks good. But it's a long NFL season. 17 games, and so much can happen in the course of a 17-game season.
Yep.
And now, I really think, the team that we're talking about now, the teams in the NFL we're talking about now, man, they change week to week once the season starts.
Yeah.
And so, but I would say it certainly sounds he's in a lot better shape now than he was a year ago at this time. But, can he stay healthy? Everybody's cautiously optimistic that he can.
So I think Kittle's a given. Kittle's Kittle.
Yeah.
Who's going to be the guy at wide receiver? Is it going to be Pearsall? Is it going to be Jennings? I don't know if Cowing's going to be a guy this year that factors into the plans. Who's the kid out of Mississippi? Watkins?
Yes.
Okay. So
Jordan Watkins.
Yeah, I don't know if he factors.
Yeah, I will say this. I think that, Jennings was 1,000-yard receiver last year.
He was really good.
He was
really good.
975, but he gets kicked out of the final game when he would have had that 1,000 yards. Watching him, he looks to be, of the guys out there, kind of on a completely different level than those other guys.
Really?
Yeah. He's got the size. He's good against man coverage. He doesn't get knocked off his route. He's big. He's strong. Catches the ball well. Has that attitude, the run after the catch. I'd say right now, and I don't know where Ayuk is in his recovery, when he can be expected back. He'll start training camp on PUP.
Mm-hmm.
My guess is he probably starts the season on PUP, which means 4 games at least out. But Jennings, I think, is he's got that dog in him, and he gets better every year, and he looks like a number one guy. And then Pearsall, can he stay healthy? I think Pearsall is a good player, but can he stay healthy? He hasn't been able to do that yet. Had the shoulder, the hamstring. Not even going to talk about the other thing that kept him out, which that was wild. But it's wide open, I think, after Jennings until Ayuk comes back. And then even when Ayuk comes back, is he going to be playing at that mid-season high level that he was at when we saw him during the 2023 season?
I'm doubtful. I think it's going to take you a little bit to get back. It's going to be interesting because the one guy I wanted him to get, and I like Pearsall. I mean, look, I have my prejudices. He went to ASU, so fuck ASU. So there was a part of me that, like, okay, I'll give him a chance. So,
you should hear what he says about you.
I'm sure he does. He has no idea who I am. But then he mixed it in with Florida, so that I was fine with that. But I wanted him to get McConkey, and I don't know.
Well, you got Cowing. Cowing is your Arizona guy.
Yeah, no. I like Cowing, but it was between those two, like in the second round.
Yeah,
Pearsall, and then McConkey went later in the second round.
Not too much later. No, well, Pearsall went 31.
Was it end of the first round? That's right.
And then McConkey went. It was early, 34 maybe, something like that.
And you got to compare them. You have two white SEC guys.
I will say this
at receiver. When does that happen?
A couple days before the draft, I was talking to somebody who knows his stuff. Is that right?
34.
And this person told me, I bet you Shanahan, or the 49ers, I think he said Shanahan. I bet you Shanahan takes Ladd McConkey. He's the guy. He's the guy they're going to take. And he told me exactly why. And so then I started thinking like, because you looked ahead, and at that point, Ayuk, the contract situation was already getting kind of weird. Debo's time was, you could kind of see a little bit of that going on. And 49ers took the player at the same position and the same kind of model, not just because
white.
Yeah, not just because
you can say it. It's okay. They're both white.
White receiver.
I don't know why we have today. Yeah. It's like you look at him, you're like, what color is that guy? White. What's he? White.
Yeah.
They both play receiver. All right. Although I try to stay away from the comparison white, black. I try to always find a white guy that played like a black guy and a black guy that played like a white guy. Because when they talk about like Larry Bird, for instance, so like, who does it remind you of? Oh, I don't know. Let me find a white guy. Yes. It's obvious who he reminds you of. Magic Johnson. Larry Bird and Magic Johnson were like very similar in how they went about their thing. But it's fun. Every time you hear a comparison, it's 98% of the time same color.
Yes.
It just is. Yeah. So anyway, back to the McConkey.
And so they took Pearsall and this scout that I know very well, and he said Pearsall's a really good player. I like him, but McConkey's better.
Yeah.
And so we don't know yet with
Pearsall.
But based on the first year, and not, let's just put aside Pearsall's first year because he ended the season strong.
Yeah.
At times he looked good. He did go about a 5-game stretch there when he had like 2 catches for 20 yards, but he had a really good Monday night game against the Lions. He had a very good Week 18 game against the Cardinals, but McConkey was damn good from start to finish.
He was really, really good. And I love the fact it looks like he's wearing, remember that cartoon? I forget what the name of the cartoon is, but the Great Kazoo.
Oh, yeah.
He had the massive helmet.
Wasn't that was Flintstones.
Was it Flintstones? Who was the Great Kazoo on? I can't remember who he was on. But if you look, he has a massive helmet. And that looks like McConkey.
Yeah.
McConkey's helmet looks like it's like 5 sizes too big. He looks like a Pop Warner kid out there playing. The helmet's massive. It looks like you could take it and spin it around on his head. Like that's how big it looks. He's like, it looks like, is it Flintstones? There you go.
There you go.
Good call. So yeah, it looks
Do
like
I get a free beer for that?
Yeah, please open up. Well, no, I got the next one. But no, he's really, really, really good. Again, he was the guy down there. They didn't really have anybody else. They had the kid out of TCU. I can't remember his name, but he did nothing for him. So no, I like him, but who was that? Quentin Johnston, yeah.
By the way,
TCU.
You can have two really good beers back to back, but that second beer, even though it's really good, that first taste tastes like ass. It takes a couple.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I didn't taste ass in mine. Wow. You must have a predilection for ass. I'm not sure, but mine tasted fine. I don't know. Switched from a
okay, we're back now.
You're back?
Second sip.
You good to go?
Yeah, we're ready to go.
We're gonna have another one coming.
Yes, we're gonna no telling where this goes from here.
We're gonna have another one coming. We got we got beers loaded up. We've hit Wondrous, we've hit Treehouse, and we'll have a bunch more. So I feel like they should be fine at receiver. They're not going to be what they were.
Yeah, they're not elite.
They're okay. Exactly. They're not elite. Here's where I wonder. Offensive line.
Yeah.
Because Trent Williams wasn't as good last year as he has been. It's to be expected. At some point, you got to start showing your age. He's still really good. He's like in the top handful of tackles in the game, but he's not like the dominant number one tackle. And when he gets hurt.
Well, here's the thing, Tom, is that when we're talking about guys this age, it's year to year.
Yeah.
So the Trent Williams that we've talked about, he's not the same guy this year.
Yeah.
Now he might be as good or better, but at his age, that's why NFL is so difficult, because guys make huge jumps and huge declines like that.
Yeah. Last year when he was healthy, they were a good offensive line. Yeah. Not great, good. When he was hurt, they were it was like they dropped off the cliff when he was. Where do you expect him to be this year? Because I thought for sure they would draft some offensive linemen in the draft. Yeah. And look, the draft tells me one thing, and I'm not surprised by this, that they love their defensive linemen, and rightfully so. That's part of the reason Philly won the Super Bowl last year. They had what the Niners had 19, a dominant defensive line that just didn't stop. But they also have a really good offensive line. And I think what Shanahan feels like, I can coach that. Yeah. I can get out of an offensive line what maybe some others can't get out of an offensive line. And I'm cool with that. But last year was not a great offensive line at all. How are you feeling about the offensive line this year?
Well, typically continuity is really good for offensive lines.
Yeah.
And you can take an offensive line that maybe isn't as individually good, but if you keep them together, they get better. They work together better, all of that. That said, there's your bunny right there.
Oh, there's the bunny.
Yeah.
The bunny's in the house. I knew she'd come over and hang out.
That said, I was shocked that they took a quarterback in the draft before they took their first offensive lineman. There were some opportunities where it lined up to take offensive linemen, or I should say on their board, they were maybe a pick away from taking an offensive lineman. Vegas took Charles Grant right before the 49ers took, I think it was Upton Stout. So there are certain spots where you could tell they had their eye on somebody, but that person goes ahead of them. And then you get to a point where, I think the way they looked at it too was, if you're going to take an offensive lineman in the first two rounds, for sure, that guy's got to be a starter from day one. And third round, kind of looking at that too. And once you get to the third round or past the third round, there wasn't going to be an opportunity to get a year one starter, but you still need the depth. They have competition. It's, in a lot of ways, well, I guess was this before your time or not, that, the Bob McKittrick time.
Oh yeah.
They never took an offensive lineman high in the draft. I think the only offensive lineman they took in the first round for like 25 years was Harris Barton. And the idea was that, and Chris Foerster kind of reminds me of McKittrick in this way, like they have so much confidence in him to make it all fit together. And Foerster said this himself last year, which I thought was one of the more fascinating comments I ever heard, was his belief is, and he kind of echoes the belief of the organization, if it's close between an offensive lineman and a playmaker, take the playmaker every time.
Yeah.
This was the offensive line coach who said this, and his reasoning was you could have things blocked up perfectly, but if you don't have the playmakers to make the play, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
However, you could have a misassignment or something, and maybe it's not clean up front, but if the quarterback's able to get the ball into the hands of a playmaker and he makes a guy miss, now you have a 35-yard gain. And so that's his belief on that. But I do believe, I thought going into this draft, defensive line and offensive line were kind of the areas, and I was surprised, definitely surprised that they did not take an offensive lineman. Then you get into the whole conversation of, best player available for need. What do you want to do there? Yeah. And for the 49ers, I think they drafted maybe more for need this year than they have in a long, long time, because they had specific positions they had to fill in this draft.
Yeah.
And they just didn't feel like offensive line. Like, they went into this draft feeling like we have 5 starting caliber offensive linemen, including Ben Barch, who would step in for Banks.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you can make that argument. They certainly, in their mind, made that argument. But you couldn't say they had 4 starting defensive linemen. You couldn't say they have 3 starting linebackers.
Yeah.
You couldn't say they have a nickelback. So they had to, for need, I think this is the most need draft I think I've seen them have in a long, long time.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because the offensive line and defensive line almost mirror one another in that you have Trent Williams, who's the stud,
mm-hmm.
and if he's out, it really takes its toll on the line.
Yeah.
Then you have Nick Bosa on the defensive line. If he's out, defensive line, and they weren't even great the last couple of years with Nick Bosa. I mean, that's something that when the Niners are good, their defensive line can be dominant.
Yeah,
because when they had Chase Young, he wasn't very good that year.
Yeah,
but he was good in spots in the playoffs. Probably his best game of the year was against the Chiefs
in the
Super Bowl. But I think they looked at it and said, God, we got this incredible player, Nick Bosa. We can't just leave him out there on an island by himself. We got to get him some help.
Yeah.
So they go out and get Williams, they get Collins, they get West, and they just threw everything in the defensive line, which I don't mind. It's funny because Bergie and I said, if every year come draft time, your first round pick was either an offensive lineman or defensive lineman, you probably can't go wrong.
Yeah, defensive line in particular, because offensive line, you suit up 8 offensive linemen for a game. Only 5 of them are going to play.
Yeah.
You suit up 8 defensive linemen, they're all going to play, and they're all going to could potentially have a huge impact on the game. So that's why, I don't think you can ever go wrong by drafting defensive linemen, because 8 or 9 of them are going to play in the course of a game, and they each can have an impact on the game. And that's different than any other position. There's some rotating that goes on at, whatever, wide receiver or, a nickelback coming in, but there's not another position in football where you have that rotation of guys and you need that depth.
No, I let me ask you this, because I was going to move to Martin and the rest of the defense, but look at Bunny. Bunny's getting some beer.
What is Bunny's name?
Bunny Brownie.
Brownie.
Yes, that was Camila's bunny, and Camila, she actually had another bunny, and it stayed out in Patterson, and that's where the other grandparents live.
Uh-huh.
And they used to let the bunny just run around the yard. They had a little,
Patterson.
Yeah, in Patterson.
There's probably predators out in Patterson.
Well, that's kind of what happened to the bunny.
Oh boy.
Yeah, bunny got scooped up by a stray dog.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry
about that.
They went to. Oh, don't be sorry to me. Be sorry to the bunny and the bunny's family. Condolences. I'm not sure if they're still alive. The bunny's family. But they went to Mexico to visit their family for a month. So we inherited the bunny, and I told Weston, I'm like, we already got a dog. We got 2 cats. At the time, we had a turtle and a hamster. Turtle and hamster since perished.
Like Dr. Doolittle.
R.I.P. I don't know if that's the right way or not, but whatever. And they're buried in the front yard.
Oh.
So I'm like,
I did see that some spots on your lawn are more healthy than others.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like the Ramones Pet Cemetery. That's what we got going on out there. So I was like, okay, whatever. So
you want to hear a pet cemetery story?
Yeah, I do.
Jane had a coach in volleyball that named their kid Gage after the wild satanic kid in Pet named their son after the Pet Cemetery.
So that's
kid.
Pretty wild.
Yeah, just thought
that's pretty wild.
That just kind of popped in my mind.
I'd keep an eye on them.
Named Gage after that movie.
I'd keep an eye on them.
Am I wrong?
I'd keep an eye on them. That seems a little scary. Anyway. So she came over, and I was like, okay, I have no idea how this is going to go. And we put her out in the backyard, and Lou didn't really care. Lou was like, whatever. She was interested in her, of course, another animal in the backyard. And then the cats initially, you know how when you watch an animal show, there'll be like a lion walking along, and then all of a sudden they see a gazelle, and they go down in that position where the shoulder blades are up and everything. And then the cats were like that with her. I was like, oh God, they're going to just go attack her and just like barrel roll her and take her down and try to bite her in the neck. But she's almost as big as the cats. Our cats aren't huge. And then after a couple days, whatever. So now she'll go and sniff the cats. She'll sniff the dog. She just hops around and does her own thing. And
she doesn't know she's a bunny, you think?
I have no idea what she knows she is. But she's like, she's got like a sweet double chin too.
Yeah.
She's not missing any meals.
No, that's good.
At all. So anyway.
This is a wide-ranging discussion here.
We get some more beverages, por favor. That's my turn now, so I don't know what they're going to pick. We got all kinds of. We got animals. We got this. We got that. We haven't even got into it yet. So defensive line, I have no idea how it's going to be this year. Like, that's the one position. I think there's more variance in that position group than any position group on the team, because if the rookies hit, they might be really good.
Might be.
If they don't hit, then, we might get the same 4.5 yards a rush or whatever it was they just haven't been able to stop the run.
Yeah.
The last couple of years.
What I would think is that when you look at where they were to start last season, so last season their starters were Bosa and Floyd at the ends.
Yep.
And Malik Collins and Javon Hargrave to begin the season.
That's right.
At the tackles.
Yep.
I would say, just on paper and looking at those players, those names, you'd go, that's better than what they have right now.
Sure.
If you go back a year. Where I think maybe this group has a chance to be better is with maybe 5 through 8.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe better depth and maybe more room to grow and get better. Like Alfred Collins has a chance to be really good.
He's massive.
He is massive human being. So he has a chance to be really good. I think CJ West has a chance, but are we going to see that year one? I don't know. Gross Matos. Bryce Huff is a guy that, 5 years in the NFL, 4 have been extraordinarily unspectacular.
Yeah.
But the other one, the one that got him paid from the Eagles, or the Eagles paid him after he had 10 sacks. So if he's able to just come in as a nickel pass rusher and put together a double-digit sack season, now all of a sudden, Rams' defensive line looks a heck of a lot better.
Yeah, I was disappointed, and not just because he got hurt a lot, but Hargrave was not good against the run, and he wasn't good enough against the pass to be the. I don't want to say if he was on the negative side of the ledger against the run, he might have been, but he just wasn't. He wasn't that guy. He was a penetrator, get upfield, get to the quarterback, but. My goodness, if you can't stop the run, you're not going to get a chance to rush the quarterback.
I just wonder if, I'm just kind of talking here. I just wonder if they had somebody that protected him with the Eagles, that enabled him to do what he does best, and the stuff that he doesn't do well, that's okay because there are people who can kind of cover for him. So yeah, you're right. I mean, if you recall, not last offseason, but the offseason, that was considered a huge move for them to sign him in free agency, and then it just never really looked the way they wanted it to look.
Yeah.
And it was always like, oh, he's starting to come on, he's starting to play well, but it never happened. And that's the crapshoot of football. Is that for the draft, even for free agency, you would think that, oh, this guy played 4 years of kick-ass football. If you sign him, you're going to get that same guy, but it just doesn't work that way because of systems, because of people around you, because of what money does to you. What's interesting now, though, is like now that NIL is a thing, because it used to be teams would project like, okay, how's this guy going to react when he gets a little money in his pocket? Now that part of it is kind of already seen.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
So I'll say this, like last year's 49ers draft, like they don't, I mean, when I first started, the guys who the 49ers would draft are by and large knuckleheads.
Yeah.
Just coming in and just kind of clueless, and you didn't, a lot of, I mean, not by and large, but certainly more knuckleheads than what I've seen the last 2 years. Like these guys are really impressive kids. Last year's draft, like from first round all the way to the end, is like, oh my God, these guys, how old are you? Man, you got it together. I remember when I was your age, I was doing stupid stuff and just, just bumbling. I was bumbling idiot. And these guys really got it together. And I think from what I understand, what I've seen, talking to other people who've, got to know these guys a little bit, and they seem like it's a pretty mature group.
Yeah. When you say you did stupid stuff when you were their age,
boy.
I think that leads people to believe you stopped.
Well,
I mean, I think that was the assumption that people get when they're listening to you. Is that the case? His daughter's looking at him like, yeah, let's go.
I don't
be truthful.
Anything. I'm trying to think the stupidest thing recently. Yeah.
Well, okay.
There was. I kind of hang out with like-minded people.
Okay.
And so Giants opening day of 2024. So not this year, but the year before. Me and 3 buddies were over in the East Bay. We ride BART into the city for opening day. We start pre-gaming. We during game, after game, we all went to the game together, and then somehow, some way, we all went back home separately. And the 4 wives were text messaging, what's going on? Have you heard from this guy? Have you heard from that guy? We all made it back safely, but it became this like kind of weeks long situation of trying to piece together the day and how everybody
What'd you come up with? How does that happen? You all went together and you all came home separately.
Yeah. All I know is one of the guys, I was with another guy at this point before I lost him. Or he lost
some
me.
Random dude, or like
no,
friends?
These are our friends. We all went to this place together, but we were concerned about the one guy, and so we call him, and we're like, "Hey, I'm not going to use names,
okay?
But hey, where are you?" And he goes, "Hold on a second. Hey, where am I?" He was at some hotel. He was at the Hotel Clancy, and you hear some guy in the background say, "You're at the Hotel Clancy." He's like, "Oh, I'm at the Hotel Clancy," and we're like, "Okay, we're like 4 blocks away over at Local Tap." Oh, it was a show. So when you ask that question, good.
I don't know if I've ever heard that one.
Good,
before.
Clean fun. Yeah. We all went together and we came back
separately.
And no one knew where anybody else was. And this was a day game.
I would love that. Should be a movie.
Yeah.
Retracing the steps and see where everybody,
in fact,
took a left, took a right, went straight.
About 2 weeks ago, my wife found the text chain of the 4 wives, and they were piecing it together, and it reads like a freaking comedy.
Does it?
It is unbelievable. And then the like, well, he said that this happened, and I'm going, oh yeah, that did happen. And yeah, I know.
Now, did you come home on Bart?
Oh yeah.
Did everybody?
Maybe one of the 4 Ubered home.
One of the 4 Ubered home.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
And then the rest, the 3.
We got 3 different trains. Yeah.
Trains, planes, automobiles.
Yeah.
Those aren't pillows.
Thankfully, that didn't happen.
Talking to Matt Maiocco, talking a little Niner football.
Is that what we're doing?
Yes. I don't know. We're kind of like weaving it in there
that's good.
throughout the stories and stuff. Where is? I'm gonna get you a refill here as soon as you're done with that. We're gonna be drinking Cellar Makers.
Oh, I love Cellar Maker.
Super, as Wile E. Coyote might say, Mountain Nelson.
I got a Cellar Maker 49er story for you.
Do you?
Well, this is a long time ago. This is probably.
I feel like everything we say to one another is like, oh, I got a story about that. Let me tell you about this one.
Probably 15. Gosh, it was during Singletary era, if you call it an era.
Physical with an F.
Yes.
All right.
I got an email from somebody, and it started off, trust me, I'm not a crazy fan.
Okay.
It's like, okay,
it's always a good start.
This is good. Well, it started this friendship with Peter Casey, who was a 7-time Emmy Award winner. He was co-creator of Frasier, you see him on the credits, and he went to San Francisco State. Cheers. He won Emmys with Cheers.
He's a Gator.
And he was a big 49er fan. And so we started this friendship, and, turned out just a great guy. And his son, Connor, was one of the founders of Cellar Maker.
Connor. Yeah. I talk to Connor. I don't talk to him all the time, but I've texted him before.
Yeah.
No, he's a really good guy. Wow. How about that?
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
And so I was the night they opened on, what is it, Howard?
It was Howard, back in the day. That one's closed now.
Okay, so their opening night, I was there.
Were you really?
Yeah. And love.
You've been to the one over at Jack London?
Yes, I have.
Yeah,
with the Detroit style pizza.
Yeah, that's really good stuff. All right, let me pour you this one.
Let me do my own pouring. Don't want to mishap like we.
Let me do my own pouring. Like, how fucking dangerous is pouring? I mean, what am I gonna do? Spill it all over you?
It's that big.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. Smaller head.
Mount Nelson. Okay.
Don't forget the super.
Oh, super.
Okay. Give it its due. Okay. Give it its due. It's super Mount Nelson. So, all right, let's get into coaches and GMs and owners and all that kind of stuff. It seems like Jed is completely sold on John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. Like,
I would say so.
Like, they're, because I'm a big believer that you find somebody who's good just because they have a couple years, this and that. You don't try to figure out, like, let's do impulsive. So many owners are like that. Let's get somebody else. Let's get somebody else in here. It's like, look, sometimes you got to be patient with it and just you stick with a good coach. Is that how Jed kind of views it, you think?
I think so. People might not have said that in the years leading up to Shanahan and Lynch, but I will say this.
He's changed. Jed's changed, though.
But I think when you're around, like when you're in the locker room, you can tell. And it's whatever you want to call it, a vibe or whatever else. And players definitely know. So they went from Harbaugh, and then Tom Sula, one and done.
Tom Sula, yep.
Chip Kelly, one and done.
Yep.
And I will say this, at the 1 year mark, or not even 1 year mark, of both Tom Sula and Chip Kelly, there was never the sense that they could turn it around, like that they were on the right path, that they could do what was needed to win. And so I remember, the first year with Shanahan, they were 0-8. And I remember a lot of people then saying, it's going to be another one and done. I mean, if they fired Tom Sula when he won, whatever it was, 4 games or 5 games, and they fired Chip Kelly, then they got to fire Shanahan too. But you got the sense that it was not even close.
Yeah.
Like Shanahan was able to put together a good coaching staff. And I think the number one thing about being a successful coach in the NFL is just having the respect around the league to be able to put together a good coaching staff. If you don't have the respect in the NFL or in football to get a really good offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator or whatever, line coach, you name it, there's no chance you have to be successful. So I think it took them, the dynamic Harbaugh and Balky was toxic.
That was so awful.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Yeah.
And it's probably I probably think it's worse than you did because I was closer to this situation. And I'm sure people really inside of it were like, oh, you have no idea, Matt, how bad it really was. It was bad. And so the real key was just having a general manager and a head coach who are competent, who communicate, and I think are honest with each other and know what they're doing and have solutions. Because every year there's going to be stuff that comes up. It's, can you find the right solution? I don't know what would have to happen for Jed to want to move on from either John Lynch or Kyle Shanahan or both, but I would say it'd have to be really dramatic.
Yeah.
It would have to be something, because you never know. Sometimes you think, oh, things are going okay, and then it just falls off the rails, and you can sense it, you can feel it. And so I don't know what would have to happen, but it would have to be something unforeseen. And I mean, my belief has always been, and I'd love to hear your thought on this, win-loss record rarely gets somebody fired. Rarely. And a lot of times even guys who win get fired.
Yeah.
But it's about it's about building something. It's about building an organization. It's about having the right answers.
Yeah.
It's about making people feel like their voice is heard and that everybody's kind of working, pulling in the same direction.
Yeah.
Like there have been really successful coaches who've gotten fired because, I mean, in the NBA, it happens 3 times a year.
Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah.
He just got the Knicks to the Eastern Conference Finals, the most successful season they've had in 20 plus years. Gone.
Yeah.
And not because he can't coach, because of the other stuff.
But there's something else going on. There's something that is not connected or not directly relatable to wins and losses. But if you're an owner or a general manager making that call, you look ahead, you go, oh, this warning sign, this red flag here is going to be an issue down the road. And then the same thing goes the other way. Is it like, oh, we're losing, our team is bad now, but boy, I like the way he's kept the locker room together. I like the people he's bringing in. So it's really, it's just not, people, I get asked all the time, if the 49ers don't make the playoffs, is, Shanahan, or whatever.
People love firing coaches.
Yeah.
Especially good coaches. They wanted to fire Kerr this year.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, get rid of this guy. Doesn't know how to do this. And
well, he's a perfect example.
Like, he's only won 4 championships. Let's get rid of him.
He's a perfect example because Mark Jackson was a successful coach.
Yep.
But they said, okay, there's a ceiling here.
Yep.
Right? Now, to take the next step, we need somebody else.
Yeah. And
so that's something that I'm, looking back on it, I'm sure the Warriors got just hammered in some circles for firing Mark Jackson, a successful coach. They probably were more successful leading up to that than they had been in a while.
Yeah.
But
I hammered him. I said, what are you doing hiring this guy Kerr?
Yeah.
Fucking lackey.
Yeah. I mean,
kidding me?
He's
got to be lucky to win 20 games.
The worst part about him is the company he kept in college.
Like, I know.
Yeah.
That's how I knew.
Yeah.
That's how I had firsthand knowledge. I'm like, this guy has no chance. What are you doing? Well, actually, one of the things with Mark Jackson was when Michael Malone left, he lost his strong lead assistant, and the Warriors said, "Here, blank check, go out and find an assistant, whoever you want, we'll make it happen. Give yourself a great staff. And then he ended up with a staff with guys that he played with or guys that were contemporaries that it was not a great staff.
Yeah. Well, that kind of goes with what I'm saying. And it's
like, well, what are we doing here then?
Yeah.
What do we do? And I think Mark was a guy who wanted the credit. He didn't want his assistant speaking. He wanted everybody to be on the same page, everybody to have the same message. It's like one of those type, like, this is where it leads from. Here, me. That's like 1970s. That's like not now. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's okay. And I think that was the difference is Steve's like, I don't care where the idea comes from. If we win, I don't care where I get it from. Yeah. Assistant coach, assistant GM, janitor. I don't care. Somebody comes with a good idea, we're good.
I've covered a lot of 49ers teams, and I'd say the vast majority of them were completely dysfunctional. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I would have, back in the day, the general manager, talking to me off the record about how I'm getting these great players and the coach doesn't know how to use them. Walk around the corner, see the head coach, and he's telling me about how the players don't fit. They're, and you get that backbiting. And I will say this. I mean, Shanahan and Lynch, it's a good dynamic. You have John, who is, the statesman, the diplomat, the guy who can kind of smooth things over, but has a little edge too. He's not going to, he and Shanahan are going to have a good debate on wherever they want to go. But he's the guy, like Kyle can be kind of all over the map a little bit. The emotions run hot and cold, but he needs John in there to get him grounded and kind of, take a deep breath, breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth, or breathe through your eyelids, whatever the case may be.
Chakras, like Bull Durham, Fernando Valenzuela.
Yes. So it is a good pairing. And I don't know if there's any right way to do it, but they based it on Seattle. It was Pete Carroll and then the general manager, and you guys work together. You're tight at the hip, and it was the same way. They hired Shanahan first, and then he brought in John Lynch, and they didn't have a huge history together, but enough that there was respect there. And it's been a good pairing. I always say this, though, in this, here we are, San Francisco 49ers, 5 Lombardis. I think that the fan base, there's a certain faction of the fan base that's just like, you need to win a Super Bowl, dude.
Yeah.
And it's fair.
It's fair. It is. I get it. I mean, the 2 Super Bowls you lost were to, all-time coach and an all-time quarterback.
And games that they easily
should have. The first one killed me.
Yeah.
I had the Niners 45-1 that year to win the Super Bowl.
Whoa.
Yeah, whoa. Guess what it paid?
My God.
Zero. That was my one moment, my one shining moment. I could have said, I picked a huge underdog and it came true. Didn't come true.
How would your life be better if that had come through?
Are you kidding me? I'm drinking beers with you in the backyard. It doesn't get any better than this.
You are living the dream,
it
aren't you?
It obviously wouldn't be better, Matt Maiocco. Oh, Emmanuel Mosley, why'd you bite on that in route? Just stay back. Tyreek Hill doesn't catch that ball on third and 18. It's funny because I think Jed has grown throughout his ownership tenure with the 49ers. I thought the low for him, and I don't know if he learned from it or whatever, but I thought the low for him was when he elected to let Alton Smith be active after he wrapped his fucking car around a tree at 6 a.m. in the morning. And then Harbaugh plays in like 95% of the snap. Yeah. I was like, what are we doing here? Like, are you kidding me? Like, you can't give the coach the chance to play him because he's going to play him because he wants to win the football game.
In fairness, there was a lot of carb loading going on there.
Thank you. But I thought that was a low point.
No,
I thought that was a low point.
I'd agree. That happened on a Friday morning.
Yeah.
And the wheels were spinning, locked up against that tree. And then he played the game knowing full well that the next day he was going into rehab.
Yeah.
They cut a lot of corners during that iteration of the 49ers when it came to character stuff, off the field stuff. Did that have an impact? I mean, it had to, right?
I would think.
Yeah, I mean, it now, and you know what? In this group, I think this group learned too. John and Kyle, they made some mistakes at the beginning.
Yep.
I mean, most notably with the guy they would have taken number 3 overall. I think they were going to take Reuben Foster.
Are they really?
Been if Solomon Thomas. I'm trying to think so that draft win. I'm trying to think who the number 1 pick in that draft was. But then it was Trubisky
was 2. Yeah. Who was 1 that year?
Was it Myles Garrett?
Could have been. I know he was 1 overall, but I don't know. Was it that year?
But if it's my understanding that
good recollection.
If Solomon Thomas, if whatever reason that the Bears had drafted Solomon Thomas, because Solomon Thomas, I know they got hammered for that pick, but he was at that point. If you go back in time, he was a consensus top 5 pick.
He's on Bad Beats. Solomon Thomas, the opening to Bad Beats.
No.
UCLA game. Okay, I forget who it was that drops back. They strip the ball, and Solomon Thomas picks it up, runs it for a touchdown, and they covered on that play.
Wow.
You want to know how I remember it?
Probably because you had the loser.
I had UCLA. Motherfucker. I was so mad because I didn't see the ball come out. And I was like, why is he running toward the end zone? I go, there's no way that just happened. You got to be kidding me. At one point, this could be a sign that I have an issue. Maybe not, but I would say there's 60-40 chance in favor of having an issue. That when Scott Van Pelt led into Bad Beats, he had like 5 highlights. I was on 4 of them.
Wow.
I think 3 losers and 2 winners.
Oh, well.
I did win the Ohio State game where Northwestern kept pitching it back in the end zone, and Ohio State recovers it, and Brent Musburger goes, "You have got to be kidding me."
Yeah, Brent didn't really hide his emotions
No,
when it came to gambling the other day.
No, he didn't. But I had, I like every time a highlight would pop up, I'm like, I had the wrong side of that. How do I keep having the wrong side of these games? I go, it's a problem that I have all these games, whether I win or lose them, but I keep losing them, so that was a problem. But no, Solomon Thomas is easy to look at now and go, what a terrible pick.
Of course.
But I wanted him to get McCaffrey that draft. I wanted McCaffrey and Jabril Peppers.
I'm trying to think in those years, I think it's kind of swung back, but that was kind of at the point too where do you take a running back at 2, before they traded back, because that was a draft day trade where they traded back 1 spot.
Yeah.
Do you take a running back 2 or 3? And the Panthers took him, was it 8?
8, I think it was, yeah. And then Jabril Peppers didn't go until later in the first round. I just like both those guys because of versatility.
Yeah.
And I just always envisioned what Shanahan could do with McCaffrey. Like, that's where I envisioned it. Now we're seeing it. I'm like, oh, God, if you would have had him 7 years ago. But in hindsight, it starts making sense because they love drafting defensive linemen in the first round. And again, I don't mind that. It's just they got that one wrong.
I would say the other part of this is you have to look at where they were with their team. That was a horrendous team. That was such a bad team. They weren't, although they're in the Super Bowl 3 years later. But if you bring a running back in at that point, are you going to just, it's kind of the same with the Panthers, but does that make sense? And maybe if you have a generational talent, I would consider McCaffrey a generational talent.
Yeah.
But is it the wise move to bring in a running back when you have nothing else? Because he will get absolutely beat up and destroyed. So you have to kind of look at it like where you were. Now, in retrospect, they might have, they should have taken the quarterback from Texas Tech but everybody can say that.
Well, I think they wanted to, but I think there's a chance they would have, but Garoppolo got dropped in their lap for a second round pick.
Well, that was later in the year.
Was it later in the year?
Or that was that. So that was.
I thought it was before the Mahomes draft. Because I think they looked at Mahomes. At Mahomes. No, okay, no. Okay, you would know. I mean, why am I arguing with Matt?
Yeah, because the first year they wanted.
Well, I knew they wanted Cousins.
Yeah, so that was their plan, was placeholder quarterback, build out the rest of the roster, and then sign Cousins as a free agent in the offseason, because they had plenty of money. Because at that point, they had nobody worth anything on the team, so they were so far under the cap because. And then Garoppolo landed in their lap.
Maybe they'd have got Cousins and then would have gotten Mahomes. Maybe to have behind Cousins, possibly. I don't know. I just know that Garoppolo kind of threw that for a loop, because it's like Belichick's like, hey, you want this guy?
Yeah.
For a second rounder. And I don't know that they thought like they would be. Obviously, they didn't think they were going to be presented with that, right? It was like, well, shit, now what do we do? Yeah. And then Garoppolo had a great 5 games and then never returned their phone calls.
Yeah.
In the offseason. Which is wild. That is wild. I've never heard
nicest guy you'd ever.
I've never heard of somebody though that isn't that great. He's a good quarterback, but just ghosts everybody during the see ya.
But he was so good looking and so
No, I know.
Like he got away with everything. Now you know what? I like Jimmy. Jimmy he has a nice personality and all that. But yeah, he just, like, whatever reason, like Kittle would always make fun of it. Like Kittle would always talk about, Jimmy won't return my text. And it was always kind of jokingly, but it was like, hold it. Why isn't he returning Kittle's texts? Yeah. He should be, right?
Yep.
And especially after he signed the contract that, made him the highest paid player in the league for 2 months, maybe a month. He probably should return the phone calls of the head coach.
Yeah. I bet he returned those porn stars' phone calls.
So, man, this is good beer right here, huh? This is good.
Jimmy, anyway. What do we have on? We're done with these. What else do we have on tap?
Oh, well, you know what? I just
finished that.
I brought Treehouse. That's all I brought.
That's fine by me.
Yeah, okay.
Well, you apologize for bringing a world-renowned brewery? All right, let's get to some stories.
Okay.
Since you've covered the team for 30 years now. What is that one?
That's from Treehouse. It's called Haze.
Haze?
Yeah.
It's purple.
Now, not Willie Mays.
Who made this?
Did
Jimi Hendrix make it?
Maybe so. Yeah.
I mean, you do get the Purple Haze reference.
Yes,
I mean,
of course. Not Purple Rain. Did you go to Paisley Place while you're in Minneapolis?
I did not.
Yeah. Very cool.
I did not. You been there?
Yes, went there. Was it last year or the year before? Prince's place. I'm not. I want to consider myself a Prince connoisseur, but
what is your favorite Prince song?
Well, it's got to be "Purple Rain."
Is it?
Why not?
Wow.
Oh,
well, I mean, why not? That's
well,
fine.
You know what? Because I'm
what
going
about
to tie
Dove's
this.
Cry?
Well,
Little Red Corvette.
Yes.
Let's Go Crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
No. Let's go. Purple Rain.
Okay.
The Super Bowl, the halftime show at the Super Bowl.
Beret?
Yeah, I kind of like that one.
So I can't believe he's dead. I think him and Tom Petty died within like a year of each other. I think both OD'd on painkillers or something. It sucks. I never saw Prince. I saw Tom Petty a couple times. He was really good, really good in concert. But no,
you know where I saw you?
The Purple Rain album's incredible.
You know what concert I saw you at?
What?
Are you gonna take a guess? I don't know if concert is the right word. What show I saw you at?
Well, that's weird.
Bimbo's 365 Club?
Was it? What's the name of the? I can't even think of the name of the band.
English Beat.
English Beat. Yes, English Beat. That's right.
Yes,
that's right. I was there with Bergie.
Uh-huh.
I think Bergie was there. Lori was there. My buddy Todd was there. Yeah, we all went there, and we went. So here's the story. We went backstage and talked to them all.
Oh wow!
Because we met them at like Jim Rome's 40th birthday party. He hired them. I'm like,
wow,
bro,
okay.
you got it like that? Seriously, you just hire the English Beat to come over and play your party. So yeah, we were down there in Southern California, and I remember this because we went to the party, and I had my buddy record the Giants playoff game that night. I go, look, I want to watch the game when I get home, and we didn't get home from the party until like 1:30, 2 o'clock. It just happened to be the Giants playoff game against the Nationals that went 18 innings.
Wow.
So I was up to like 4:30 because I was fast 40, but it's forever. I'm like, oh shit, can this game end? I'm dying here. So about 4:35, I finally went to sleep because the game ended. Brandon Bell hits a home run and everything.
Yeah.
But I remember, that party and the English Beat being there, and I met their, I don't know if he was a guitarist or bassist, but he knew who I was because he's from up here, and he goes, hey, we're playing the Bimbos. Why don't you come to a show? So he came to the show and then went back there and talked to him. But no, it was a cool show. It was like, those are like high school songs, right? Like high school, maybe a little college song, stuff like that. That was a fun show, though.
Yeah.
I love going to the little venues.
Yes.
When's the last time you went to a little venue and saw a show?
Let's see. Well, have you heard of Matt Nathanson?
No.
I'm not going to do any songs, but so
you're not going to sing for us.
No, I'm not going to sing for you. No, not going to sing for you. But he's this guy. He lives in San Francisco now. He's from New England area, and he puts on a great show, and he's funny as hell. Like he's talking between songs. And so I went back to visit my daughter Jane in New Hampshire, and he just randomly he was playing at this Portsmouth, New Hampshire place called the Music Hall. And so we went there, a venue of, I'd say, 500 people, if that. And it's just kind of that intimate thing. You mentioned the birthday party. Mm-hmm. So one of the great things is I've been now to several 49ers inductions into the Hall of Fame. And they will always get an artist to play at their party.
Oh, really?
So it's been the last few years, Patrick Willis, Bryant Young, John Lynch, and then before that, Jerry Rice. At Jerry Rice's party, and we're talking a couple hundred people, John Legend.
No way.
A piano. Wow. I was like leaning up against John Legend's piano. And I'm like, hey, I think this is kind of a cool thing. Like, it's John Legend. No, I'm like, seriously, I'm not joking. I'm like, John Legend right here.
Wow.
Lionel Richie for John Lynch's. Cool.
All night long?
All night long. So fun.
So he was John Lynch's.
Yes, he was John Lynch's. And then Bryant Young was Boys to Men.
Okay.
And I think so Boys to Men kind of has that I don't know what the connection is with Mr. D, but they became 49er fans or something. I don't know what it was, but so yeah, Boys to Men. And then I'm trying to think, Patrick had more niche performers, but those are the three that like, and we're talking tiny, like not even a venue, like in a hotel ballroom.
John Legend
in a pop-up tent, kind of like this. No, I'm not kidding. Like, it was crazy to be. I mean, I was 5 feet from John Legend as he's doing a 45-minute set.
I didn't know that. I should ask Steve Young who he had at his.
Yeah. Let's see, Steve Young. I don't think Steve Young had anybody.
No,
not even the maybe
not even the Tabernacle.
Well, I was going to say the Osmonds.
A little bit country, a little bit rock and roll. Yeah, exactly. I would have had Tool playing at mine. That'd have been amazing. I don't know if anybody knows Tool, but they know them. But I don't know for a party of like 100 people. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Tool, just crushing people's eardrums. It would have been amazing. Oh my gosh. So as you go back in time, what are some of the stories that you think of when you're covering the team, whether it be good stories, dysfunctional stories, things that kind of jump out to you? Like if you were to say, this is my career. These are my stories. Like, what stories do you think? And I just gave you a title for a book, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
If you want it, you're welcome.
I'm gonna have to Google that and see if that's already been.
Nah, well, you brought the beers, so I mean, I have some, which we're gonna get into in a minute. But what are some of the stories you look back on, the eras you look back on, and go, that one always pops up into my head?
God, that's a great question. Yeah, there's been I need
it's
to.
It's really not. It's kind of a lazy question.
It is. I do need to kind of like catalog stuff for those great stories. God, I mean, I remember the one story that happened. It was like Terrell Owens' time was kind of done with the 49ers. These are like stories that are kind of bizarre, but I remember these kinds of things.
The more bizarre, the better.
So he was, at the end of his tenure with the 49ers, it wasn't, it wasn't good. He was, battling with the 49ers. He was battling with us and the media and everything. And so they'd played their final game of the season. And we're in this like little tiny lobby, or I think it's me and like maybe one or two other guys in this little tiny lobby, in the 49ers facility. And there's Terrell. And this might be the last time we see him because either he's going to hit free agency, and then it seemed like he was coming back. And so I said, hey, Terrell, you got a second? And he said something as he was walking away, which I got the gist of it was, I'm not talking to you, but he said like something, he said something. And so in my mind, I thought I knew what he said, and I turned to Cam Inman, and I said, what do you think he just said? And he goes, I think he said, watch my head get small. And I go, I don't think he said, watch my head get small. I think he said, I've washed my hands of you all. Okay, that is so stupid, but that's what I think of. And we debated me and him, we debated this for like a couple minutes. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Watch my head get small. He's like, no. He was walking away from us. Like, that doesn't make any sense. But I've washed my hands of y'all. That makes a little bit more sense. So I didn't quote him. And to this day, if you see Cam Inman, just say, hey, watch my head get small, and he'll know exactly what you're talking about.
So was that Jerry's last game with the Niners? Terrell got 20?
Yes, it was. It was the last home game.
Last home game
with the Niners.
Now, was that like on purpose, or was that them figuring out, like, look, it's Jerry's last home game. The defense is going to be geared toward him. Let's just keep going to Terrell. Because after a while, I got to admit, it did become a little uncomfortable.
It did, and it continued to be uncomfortable, I think, even after the game. One of my good friends who's going through some stuff right now, and one of the really good reporter in the Bay Area, AP, Dennis Georgiadis, he was with, I think he was back at the facility. He was talking to Jerry, and they gave Jerry the game ball because it was his last home game. Everybody knew it was his last home game, but Jerry didn't want that game ball.
Yeah.
And T.O. like walked past him.
Said, I'll take it.
Well, Jerry said, I don't want this thing. This only brings back bad memories. Yeah. He's like, hey, T.O., man, this is yours. Great game. And T.O. went off with it. But I do think that everybody knew the ball was going to be going to Jerry time and time and time and time again. So how did the Bears play that game? They rolled all their coverage to Jerry. They left Terrell Owens wide open. And if you're Jeff Garcia, are you going to be throwing into quadruple coverage over there? Or are you going to come over here and throw to the guy that's wide open? So it worked out that way. They tried, I think they tried like hell to get the ball to Jerry. Yeah. I mean, it's certainly, it looked bad. You said it's uncomfortable. By the way, I got married the day before that game.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. December 16th, 2000. That game was December 17th, 2000.
What were your meal choices? What'd you go with? Chicken and salmon?
Let's see.
Salmon and steak?
Yeah.
Open bar?
We all the beer you could drink, just as long as I poured the beer, and it didn't like have that foam come up too much.
Are you fucking with me?
Yes, I am. Yes, as a matter of fact, I am, Tom.
Because I thought you were gonna say no, it's a cash bar. Because I figured you're a cheap bastard. That's what you do.
Well, I am a cheap bastard.
You're like, I ain't paying for your beer. You kidding me? Get out of here. Thanks for coming to the wedding. Pay for your own beer.
Yeah.
Wow, how about that?
Yeah.
The day before. So you bring up T.O.
Yep.
I actually brought him up in the game, but I want to ask you about this. When and why did T.O. go from like the humble guy from Middle Tennessee State
to
like douchebag, my words, because I just said them. Like he went into Madonna mode almost, like he started branding himself way before athletes started branding themselves. And it was a me thing. Him running to the star was one of the worst things I've ever seen. I got to be honest.
You have to admit it was pretty funny.
Especially when, who was it? McIntyre that went and knocked some guy out.
Derek Deese.
I don't know why McIntyre was before him, before him anyway. And Derek Deese knocked somebody out, and he grabbed the ball and went back to the star. I'm like, and then by the way, he ran by Jeff Garcia without high fiving him. Just ran to the star. Anyway, when did that metamorphosis happen? Where he was like, he just. It wasn't overnight, but it was like, what happened to that kid? What happened to him?
Yeah, you know what? I don't know, but it did come up recently because Brandon Ayuk posted some video of Terrell Owens when he was with Philadelphia doing the
Drew Rosenhaus out in front of the house.
Yeah. I watched that again and I thought that was hysterical. Like I did not realize how funny that was. He's doing sit-ups.
Next question.
Guys are interviewing him, and it was the funniest damn thing. I was there for the whole Terrell Owens
experience.
And I'll say this. I can say this with 100% certainty. When he showed up, he was a third-round draft pick, and when he came to training camp, he was like really freaking good from day one. And I think that was the same year they drafted JJ Stokes. I think that was the same year.
I think 10th overall pick from UCLA.
Yeah. And then Owens was a third round pick.
And ultimately became a Bill Romanowski spitting target.
Yes, he did. Oh, boy.
Yeah. Come on,
boy.
Bill.
But Owens was like, from day one, he was really good. He was a skinny, lanky, 6'3" guy. And then he just became this Adonis. Like he was the most physically imposing and impressive wide receiver I've seen. And he could just control a game. And he had this ability to thrive under chaos. And a lot of it, he would kind of create the chaos. But then he would, like, he could change a game. He could control a game in that kind of physical, aggressive manner like nobody I've ever seen. But how it all, I kind of think, that Dallas Star situation, I'm trying to think what led up to that, but it seemed to me after that was when, he started to get, he started to have a bad relationship with the organization.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he felt like the team kind of turned its back on him. He did it the first time. Nobody said a word to him. Nobody said a word to him on the sideline. Like, hey, let's not do that, or, whatever. When he did it the second time, all hell broke loose.
Yeah.
And to the point where they suspended him. And I think that, I know that he felt like, you're suspending me? Like, you should have my back. You should support me. You should be, like, you didn't say anything the first time, and you all saw what I did the first time. How did you not think I was going to do it a second time when Emmitt Smith scores a touchdown and he does the same thing? So it was like, just keep one-upping you. So, there's a lot of that. And, it's just the pride. I don't know. I mean, he's one of the more interesting guys. I tell people all the time, who's your favorite interview? Who's your worst interview? Terrell Owens is probably both, depending on where he was. I could sit down and talk to him. We could have, I could walk away from a 15-minute conversation going, holy crap, how many, which of the 10 stories he just gave me am I going to write? And then, maybe you see him a couple minutes later and completely blow you off.
Yeah.
So he's a fascinating guy. And
the star thing was, I was out. I was absolutely out after the star. That was one of the bigger me moments that I've seen on a football field, baseball diamond, basketball court, whatever.
Let me ask you this. Do you think he was a Hall of Famer?
Yes.
Do you think he was a first ballot Hall of Famer?
I don't know. Does it matter?
It doesn't. It doesn't.
I mean, the guy's one of the best receivers I've ever seen. When him and Randy Moss were in the league together, I said, Randy Moss is the best receiver in the game with the ball in the air.
Yeah.
I go, once the ball's in your hands, T.O.'s the best.
Yeah.
And I go, it's not like Randy Moss is number one with the ball in the air and 20th they're both at the top. But I go, when T.O. had the ball in his hand and he blocked, I go, T.O. was devastating. It was incredible. He's absolutely, in my book, a Hall of Famer. Absolutely. Hall of Famer. But I just after that, the whole get your popcorn ready, while funny, I don't want the guy on my team who's out there, doing fucking sit-ups in his driveway, doing bench presses.
It's pretty damn funny, though.
And no, it's really funny. But I don't need him to be my teammate. I just want to laugh.
He wasn't great to deal with a lot of the times as a beat reporter. And then at some point when I became,
there's a bunny back there. We got the bunny.
Is Bunny in the picture?
We got the,
No, okay.
We got the bunny.
So I became a voter the second year that Terrell Owens was eligible for the Hall of Fame.
Oh, you mean Hall of Fame voter?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you
Pro Football Hall of Fame voter.
I thought you actually decided you want to vote for, president and senators and stuff like that. Hopefully you've been doing that longer.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Although,
no, don't go down that road.
Okay. So anyway,
we'll both get sucked down that vortex. Look at Bunny back there. Bunny's having a good time back there. She's digging and everything. Okay, go ahead. You're a voter.
So a voter.
Bunny doesn't care.
And the first year I wasn't a voter, that T.O. was eligible. Second year I became a voter, and so I'm as the person who covers the 49ers, I'm the one who starts the conversation on Terrell Owens.
Okay.
And quite frankly, it didn't go well. If we're going to be honest
what
with
do you mean it didn't go well?
Well, to the point where I'm backing. I had my issues with Terrell Owens. I understand. I saw it all, and I give my presentation, which I thought was a convincing presentation for Terrell Owens to be in the Hall of Fame, and then I just get freaking hammered by the other, many of the other voters, to the point where guys who I know and I've known for 10, 15 years came up and apologized to me afterward. Hey, Matt, sorry. Hope you didn't take that personally.
They're apologizing to you.
Yeah. And it was like, I'm okay. The next year, I answered the one question that had to be answered, which was, do his former teammates support him? And frankly, there were a couple that didn't. But there were probably more who did support him as a Hall of Fame. But the thing that turned the tide, I think, was there was a young reporter from the Kansas City Star named Terez Paylor.
Okay.
And he since passed away at a very young age. In fact, I think within that next year, he passed away just tragically. But a young black man who stood up in front of this group of frankly, a lot of white guys, and said, when I was growing up and me and my buddies talked football and we, whatever, Madden or whatever, we all wanted to be Terrell Owens. That he connected to us like no other player had. And it was really amazing to hear that. And for him to say, like, the way he approached the games, the way he did the stuff that, on the Star, or the way he, the popcorn,
the Sharpie, sock,
all that stuff, is like he kind of transcended football because he was different, and he was unique, and he was an entertainer. And so I don't know, is that part of the Hall of Fame conversation? I don't know, but he flew through that year. And obviously my presentation was a huge part of that too. I mean, I could read stats like no other person. I could just like give you those stats. The other person you mentioned is Randy Moss.
Yeah.
I only covered him 1 year, but he might have been the most fascinating player I ever covered.
Really?
Yeah. I remember it was an Olympic year, 2012. And the first time I talked to him, or I'm trying to think, I don't think it was the first time I talked to him, but we started talking about the Olympics.
Sorry, I'm looking at the bunny back there.
Yeah, I think
she's trying to escape.
Yes.
I think she's trying to escape.
She's never done that. How long have you had this bunny?
Oh, 6 months. No. She dug a hole underneath this. She was out in the front yard, just sitting there. If you could just fill the hole in a little bit, Max. Okay. So she doesn't escape. It's a huge hole, because I could hear Max in the background going, look at her. She's so sweet. Here, give me that bunny. I'm going to show everybody the bunny.
Okay.
This sweet little bunny. Come here, you. And this sweet little bunny. Where are you going? Like, seriously. Don't you have it good enough here? Don't I feed you? Don't I pet you?
If you keep this up, we're sending you to Patterson.
Oh, no. You're going to get eaten by a dog.
Oh, jeez. Are you sure it wasn't a coyote?
No, it was a stray dog.
Okay.
We got it. Yeah.
We have the.
So that's what we're left with.
Did we do
now.
the thing like the shark, like in the Jaws, and they cut it open? Like, oh my gosh, there's a tin can.
I didn't try to think about it. I got to be honest.
There's a woman's leg in there.
Great. Well, hopefully the dog didn't die too. So I wish the dog had no ill will, but yeah, she gets her little paws all. Look at her nose. Her nose is usually pink. It's like brown now, because she's like digging. Hey, it's not better over there. I'm going to tell you that right now. Okay, the grass is not greener over the fence.
Are we still on the air, by the way?
So just chill.
Is it still going?
So just chill.
Okay.
Come on.
This is live, right?
Here. That's how we do it. This is how we do it. So anyway,
we're Randy Moss.
We're Randy Moss, because we went from Terrell Owens, Pro Bowl, and then Hall of Fame, and now we're Randy Moss.
So Randy Moss, 1 year with him. I at this point probably doesn't even remember me, but I remember we had a really
there's no chance he
no chance at all. But we had this really nice conversation about the Olympics and this and that, had nothing to do with football. And then there was another day. One thing I've learned is when like if someone challenges you, you can never back down. I remember this one day where I forget what it was, but he told me he hated me. I hate you. And I go, what are you talking about? I go, you don't even know me. And he goes, I hate the media. And I go, that'd be like me saying I hate all football players.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. And he said, you know what? You're right. But I still hate you. And he smiled and he walked away. And I was like, oh, I think I broke through here.
Yeah.
Because there was a little bit of humor.
Yeah.
So then at some point he said, I forget where he said it, but if you want to know about me, you got to go to where I'm from. Okay. So the 49ers were practicing. It was between, a couple of games on the East Coast. They're practicing in Youngstown, Ohio. Well, Rand, West Virginia is about a 5-hour drive from Youngstown, Ohio.
Okay.
But me and my photographer guy that I worked with, JC Garcia, I was like, hey, what do you think if on the off day we have in Youngstown that we go to Rand, West Virginia, and just kind of see what that town's all about? And he's like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. We'll rent a car.
Yeah.
Sure. And so I went to Randy and I said, hey, I know you said like if I really, if we really want to get to know you, you got to go to where you're from. And he would like, I don't think he was looking at me while I was saying. And he goes, are you going to Rand? I go, hell yeah, I'm going to Rand. He was like, and then you got to do this, you got to do that. Let me set you up with my boy. He'll show you around. And it was the neatest thing.
Really?
Yeah. And then even while we were in Rand with his guy, we're at Applebee's.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, his cell phone rings. He's like, oh, I got to take this. And he's like, it's Moss. He walks away and he comes back and he goes, okay, that was Moss. I don't know why he wants me to take you to this guy, but we're going to go visit this guy and this guy too. On that trip, I got offered moonshine, which one of my regrets
Did you have some?
I didn't.
Why not?
I wish I had.
Why not?
I don't know, because I wasn't driving. I don't know why I didn't.
You should have had just a sip.
One of my great regrets.
That's a huge miss by you.
But the other one,
and that would have been like legit West Virginia shine.
Yes.
You kidding me?
And it was at like this little shack where he used to watch like college football games.
A shine shack.
And then the other guy that Moss wanted us to meet was, I would say, a little rough around the edges kind of guy. And probably the giveaway that he was rough around the edges was that he was still wearing the ankle.
He was wearing the ankle locator.
He was. He was. But I'll say this is that like the fact that Moss still connected with these guys who are real.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like this, I don't know. I thought a lot of him because of that. You. It did. Yeah. I mean, it was really neat. Yeah. And that was probably of all the stories I've done and all the, like, that was kind of neat because it was like, cool. I would never have gone to Rand, West Virginia. Yeah. I went to this high school. I met, all these guys who, I mean, you could write a book about all the characters I met that were from his past that he remembered. And Randy was as smart, as football savvy, and I think kind of real life savvy too, as anybody I've ever met. Yeah. And I've always thought, like, he didn't play the media game when he was playing, but it didn't surprise me necessarily that he went into TV after that, because I knew that he could. I just didn't know if he would want to go down that road and be, join the evil empire of the media.
Yeah, the only interaction I ever had with Randy Moss, and it wasn't even with Randy Moss. It was, you remember his son Thad Moss?
Yep.
Played at LSU. And they lived, you walk out to the water here, take a right.
It was in Alameda?
They did when he played for the Raiders.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I don't know how Thad knew Weston or whatever, but he was living with, I'm assuming he was living with Randy down. It's probably about a half a mile down. So it's not that far, half a mile from the house, maybe. And that is a field work, St. Thomas OG.
Nice. By the way, I'm going to have to make a break here soon.
Oh, you know what I mean? Break?
Yeah. Right, well, there's a hole back there that I could.
Well, you're not going to squat, are you?
No.
You got to take a shit?
No.
I mean, Jesus. Well, the bunny will cover it up for you. Yeah. No, if you do, that's fine. Just make sure you cover it up with your paws, okay?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so, we'll take a break after this. And so Thad comes over. It's like a Tuesday.
And he's how old?
8? At this point, 10? Probably 11, 12.
Okay, yeah.
I think he's 1 year maybe older than West. Maybe Weston, I think, or the same age. But that 11, 12, 13 range. He comes over Tuesday, 9:15, 9:30. He goes, hey, is Weston here? It's like, yeah. He goes, "Can you come out and play basketball?" Because I had a hoop out here there they used to go shoot around in. I'm like, you know what time it is on a Tuesday?
What time was it?
It's like 9:15, 9:30
p.m.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, school year.
Yeah,
not summer. Like when I got the knock on the door, I'm like, "What the fuck is that? What are you coming over here? Like knocking on my door at 9:15, 9:30, whatever it was." And it's like that. I'm like, what? I was like, he's like, "Yeah, could Weston come out?" I'm like, "No. What are you doing out?" I go, "No." I go. I go, "Please, beat it." I go, "Get out of here."
So
I go, "Are you kidding me?"
So in Rand, West Virginia, Randy's mom was like, she was the shit in that town, little town.
Yep.
And everybody knew her. Everybody was terrified of her. And Randy would duck out. Like his mom, I think, worked 2 jobs. And so at night, Randy would go down to the corner where all the adults were and bring some money and roll dice. And this one night, he won a lot of money from the adults. And he collected. The next day, he took the bus to downtown Charleston, West Virginia, and brought home sneakers and jackets and everything. Sometime later, his mom was in his room and saw all this stuff. And she thought, like, "Are you freaking dealing drugs?" He's like, "No, Mom, I promise. I won them. I got this money legally. I was gambling with the guys down the street." And she was like, "Okay, all right." And then she, I think unbeknownst to Randy, I don't think he found out about this until years later. He went down. She knew who the guys were. She went down and told them, "If you ever include my son in one of your gambling activities, your ass is grass." And so she laid down the law to them. And so the next time he went down there, they're like, "Oh, Randy, why don't you go home? Like tonight, And he never knew about that until much later.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good story. All right. We're going to do a beer break. We'll throw up the
yeah, because we really need a break to drink beer because we haven't been doing that.
I'm good. I'm solid. Obviously, you're of weak constitution and your bladder is not as big as mine is, so you got to hit the restroom. And I got to go figure out what's going on with the bunny over there too. I don't want the great escape to happen.
We know where the bunny is?
I think we thwarted an escape.
Okay.
Because I kept seeing her like digging and then pushing and digging and pushing, and I was like, that'd be great if I just sat here and watched her disappear underneath the fence.
You don't want that blood on your hands.
I do not want that blood on my. I've grown attached to the bunny.
I know, I can tell.
And yeah, the bunny's part of the family now. So we got the cat, 2 cats, dog, and a bunny. So yeah, I'd like to keep the bunny alive as long as possible.
Yeah,
you got to save her from herself.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back in about 5. All right, we are back in the backyard. We've averted any bunny tragedies. Looks like Bunny is content with not being able to dig over there.
No escape from Alcatraz today.
No escape from Alcatraz. No Clint Eastwood, who I believe.
I hear they're reopening Alcatraz.
I think Trump's doing that, right? It should be good.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's operational.
Yeah.
I mean, how much money could it take to get that thing up and running?
Yeah.
I mean, you kidding me? You get that thing going. That'd be great. So much for the gift shop. So I'll give you a funny story about Alcatraz. First time I was over there, and I've been there probably 3 times. First time I was there was with me and my mom. God, does Dave have a megaphone out there, my neighbor?
I know, he's yelling.
I'm gonna have to yell at Dave.
What kind of neighborhood
Dave.
is this?
I'm gonna go. Yeah, it's pretty rowdy.
It is pretty rowdy.
It's pretty rowdy. So.
I'm trying to be quiet. I'm trying to keep the dogs quiet. Join the show. I can't,
Hey, Dave, keep the dog quiet, okay, please. Try doing a show. No, actually, Dave's dogs, Coco and Jackie.
You know what?
They're great dogs.
The people who can watch this all around the globe, right? This is global.
Yeah.
Well, Dave's not watching.
No, Dave's not watching right now. No, because and Dave's a great guy.
Okay.
Love Dave. And Jackie and Coco are really cool dogs.
I would like to think that he would watch your stuff.
But I walked out and I go, hey, Dave, what's going on? And Coco just walked up and I caught him. Just took a fat shit right on my front yard. I'm like, Coco, come on. And Dave's like, oh, you caught him, huh? I got to go pick that one up. I'm like, well, pick the other ones up,
so you're blaming the dog and not the owner?
Well, he didn't shit on my front yard.
Fair enough.
It was a dog.
You know what we have in our neighborhood? We have people who pick up the dog shit, put it in the green bag, and then just throw it on the side of the road.
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know.
What is that? I see that too.
Yeah,
it's like
you picked it up.
You went to
you did the hard part.
You picked it out. Now put it in a trash receptacle. It's not that hard.
No, it's not.
It's like it's in plastic. You can carry it 50 yards, and then dump it. Or I love the people too that pick it up, and then don't twist tie it. They just throw it in there. Yeah. So the stench just kind of comes wafting out of it.
Do you want to hear my hero story?
I don't like your hero story.
I don't like to brag.
Like hero as a sandwich?
I don't like to brag.
Okay.
You know
go
me.
ahead.
I'm a humble guy. So there was someone, this was about 3-4 years ago. There was in our neighborhood, there was the bags that were on our street, and it was daily. And so this went over a course of weeks. And me and the neighbors started talking like, what, like there's a bag in our front yard. Like what's going on? And so one morning, 6:45 a.m., I just happened to be up and I see somebody walking by. They kind of look suspicious with a dog, and I see it occur. I see the dog do his thing or her thing.
Yeah.
And then the person throws the bag. And I was at the front door and I said, hey, did you just throw that bag down? And the guy turns and says, I'm coming back. I'll pick it up. And I go, well,
coming back.
And I go, well, you haven't picked it up for the last 3 weeks because the bags are still out on the street. And I'm projecting, like my voice is it's full force. And then the dude says, oh, it's probably my wife who's doing that. What? And I go,
it's my wife. I just did it, but it was my wife.
Yeah. So I said, hey, so I made a scene at 6:45 a.m.
Good.
So then about, I'd say 5 minutes later, we had a neighbor down the street, 2 houses down, and he had 3 small children. And 5-7 minutes later, I get a ring on the doorbell. I'm already awake, and I'm, kind of my blood's kind of pumping.
Yeah.
And our neighbor Jay with his 3 kids, ages, whatever, 6, 4, and 2, and they're like ducks in a row.
Yeah.
And he goes, the door swings open, and he goes, kids, I want you to see what a hero looks like. And I said, oh my God, did you just hear that? And he goes, the entire neighborhood heard that. You were so freaking loud when you're outing that person. So that's, I don't,
now,
again.
Did he pick it up?
Yes, but you know what?
What?
I think he might be back at work now.
Really?
Yeah, this years have gone by, but I think he's back.
I hate
that.
I
need to.
You know what?
Yeah.
Cheers to you.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
That's
again.
amazing.
Don't like to brag.
No, on that one you should.
Yeah, thank you.
On that one you should, because those people, I have no love for those people at all.
Yeah.
It just, first off, pick it up. Don't leave it on someone's yard.
Yes.
Secondly, when you pick it up, dispose of it. It's just not that hard.
It's not that hard.
It really isn't. So, I mean, unless I get it, if you have like carpal tunnel and you have a Great Dane, and then you got to hold like a big Great Dane crap in your hand and your hand shaking and stuff. Like I could kind of see that.
I'll be honest. I've never thought of that part of it, but
yeah, I mean, those got to be 2-pounders. Those are like those are big honkers.
So if that guy had yelled back to me, dude, I have carpal tunnel, then I could have said,
that's still at 6:45. You're getting into it.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I don't give a shit.
All right.
Come back and get it. Get it with your non-carpal tunnel hand. I don't care. Or find someone, pay someone to get it.
Yeah.
Don't leave it in front of my house. It's just like I don't. It's funny because I wonder. It'd be interesting to talk to those people. Like, do you think you're doing the right thing by picking it up and then throwing it in the street? Like, isn't there a disconnect there? Like, you're like 50% of the way there, but you're not taking it all the way home, and that's not good enough.
Yeah.
I don't know what they would say.
There are some people I think that feel like, well, if they do that on a trail, like there are people who come by and pick it up.
Why would they pick it up?
I know.
Why would you pick up somebody else's bag? Like, who would think that way?
By the way, can I say this?
Somebody else will get my bag.
No, Max and Daniel. I mean, like the enthusiasm you guys show. Like when we say something that resonates with them, this is impressive.
Live studio audience.
It's impressive.
Yeah. Jane doesn't laugh once. So
no, she's.
She laughed at me a couple times, not you so much.
Well, she's laughed at you, not with you.
Well, that's a good point. I think she's heard your stories before, though.
Has.
I think she's probably like, that's it. But the seventh time I've heard that one.
Okay, I've heard that one.
Not that funny anymore.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to some topical NFL stuff. I found it interesting. Aaron Rodgers signed yesterday with the Steelers. It wasn't even that big a deal. It's like, bro, that's where your career is now. Like nobody even really cares anymore.
Yeah.
You're kind of the ayahuasca guy and the night camp or whatever, night retreat or darkness retreat or whatever that is, camp guy. Like it didn't even, to me, it didn't even register. Like, so what? He signed with the Steelers. Who cares? I mean, what did you make of it? I thought that was a perfect metaphor to where Aaron Rodgers' career is.
Unfortunately for him, maybe, but he's kind of turned into a parody of himself.
He has, yes.
He's turned into almost kind of a punchline, and he was a really good player,
great,
like next level player. But now the other stuff has kind of taken over, and he's kind of become a punchline. And he was the savior of the Jets. That didn't work out too well. And now he's going to a team. It kind of feels to me like he's just hanging on. I mean, as I look at the AFC North, I might pick the Steelers to be last place.
Yeah.
And what a legacy that would be for him. And his legacy is already set. He's first ballot Hall of Famer. Nobody's gonna question any of that. One of the best that there's ever been. But boy, talk about a fall from grace and just off the field, on the field. It's been icky.
Woods?
No, that's another
Shuffle?
AFC North guy. No, it's just been weird.
Yeah. It really has been. And it seemingly almost started with the last couple years with Green Bay. And then how do you I don't know how you show up with the Jets and then you aren't all in with the offseason. Like he wants to go do his own thing. I get that. You're a vet. But if you're gonna do that, just retire then. Because you're in a new team. And like what Aaron Rodgers says means something, right? It resonates with people. just you being there and showing that you're committed to the Jets and showing that you're committed to the team, that would mean a lot to the team. But just to say, I know what I'm doing, I don't think anybody would dispute that. He knows what he's doing, but he doesn't get like what he means to everybody around him.
That's a weird thing, is that, and I don't know. I mean, he's intimated that, or not, he hasn't intimated. He's flat out said that there are other things going on in his life with friends who are going through things, whatever. I mean, I shouldn't say whatever. I'm not going to, if there are, then he should be taking care of that. But if you're a veteran guy, and last year with the Jets, and I'm going to go to Egypt.
Yeah.
Okay. What are you saying? I'm prioritizing a trip to Egypt, when he could take that trip to Egypt 3 years from now and for the next 15 years.
Or just retire.
But I'm saying is that, like, if he's saying I'm going to go to Egypt and I'm going to do that over doing the things I need to be as an NFL starting quarterback, okay, well, maybe the priorities aren't where they should be.
Yeah.
And I get the sense that he got criticized so much for that last year that he was like, I'm going to do my own thing, and then I'm not going to sign with the Steelers until I can then go to their offseason program. But he goes to their like, he could have signed this contract 6 weeks ago. He could have been there day one, kind of setting the tone, connecting with his receivers, connecting with his offense, connecting with his team. And so for him to do it now, it's like, it's weird. I think if you're an NFL quarterback, there are certain jobs that are 9 to 5. There are other jobs where it's 24/7. Being an NFL starting quarterback, you are on the clock 100% of the time. And he has shown that, I'm gonna sign whenever I'm ready to be there and be some sort of influence on the team. So it's weird.
Do you ever get the feeling like, when I listen to him talk, I think he's too smart for his own good?
Or he thinks he's too smart for his own good.
I think he's smart.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. At least my perception of him is he's a smart guy. He's a curious guy, smart, but he's too, I agree with you. The smartest guy in the room never thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. He knows he's not the smartest guy in the room, but he ends up being the smartest guy. I think there's some of that there, that it's told you so. I know better. I know this. I know that. And it's too bad, too, because you're right. He's an automatic first ballot Hall of Famer. This guy, his arm talent's incredible. His touch, his anticipation, being able to read defenses. He's incredible. I thought for a time there he was better than Tom Brady, just because I watched him play. He was mobile. He can move, but whatever. But it's too bad the last 2 or 3 years of his career, you're looking at him going, this guy seems like a little bit of a whack job.
Yeah. And I don't know where that.
Maybe it's the whole Cal. I don't know. I don't want to say it's just a Cal thing, but Cal protesters. That's what Cal does. Yeah. Cal protests anything. Yeah. They'll protest the bunny digging in the backyard because it's bad for long-term health. I mean,
by the way, I was going to do that a little bit later. I was going to protest.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. I got some signs for you if you want them. The bunny's going to dig up some wood for you.
He's from the Chico area. That's kind of the area I'm from.
Yep.
He was never the guy. He's good, obviously a good high school quarterback, but he went to Butte College.
Yep.
So it's not like he was this high recruit.
Yep.
I don't know where he's kind of had this weird thing with his family too.
Yeah, I know that.
And so, I don't want to get too much in that because I don't know too much about that, but that's kind of weird. Like, who doesn't have a good relationship with their family?
I don't know. Charles Manson?
Yeah,
he's dead, but before he was dead, he probably didn't have a good relationship with his family.
But they did what he wanted him. They did what he wanted him to do.
That wasn't his family. That was his, kind of pseudo family.
Okay.
I'm talking about people that had the Manson last name.
I don't know that much about it.
Well, I'm guessing. I mean, right? You murder a bunch of people. Your relationship's probably strained. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm guessing Ted Bundy's family doesn't fucking embrace him anymore. Could be wrong. I don't know.
Could be wrong.
Maybe they're like, he was wrongly convicted. He was wrongly convicted. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Wow.
I haven't seen that book
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah.
He was framed. Nah, I don't think he was. I don't think he was framed. So,
who won your bracket, by the way?
it was an upset of all upsets. So we had Jeffrey Dahmer.
Right. Now I would think
we had Ted Bundy.
Who was the number 1 seed?
We had Wayne Gacy. Jeffrey Dahmer was a 1 seed.
Okay. Well,
Bundy was a 2. Wayne Gacy, the clown killer, was 3.
Yeah.
No, he was 4.
He was 4. Who was
3 was Night Stalker.
Oh, 3 was Night Stalker.
Okay, that's Ramirez.
And none of them won. Yeah, Richard Ramirez. None of them won. You know who won? Think
Uh,
local.
That would be Zodiac?
Yep, Zodiac
okay.
won, and I was like, unbelievable. Like, there's
Yeah.
no other place in the country.
Well, that's home court
where
advantage.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
I go, hometown boy makes good.
Yeah.
I go, who knew? Who knew?
Yeah.
And he could still be alive. He's the only one that you can make that case for. Like, he could still be alive. We know the rest are dead.
Yeah.
I think Richard Ramirez got executed, didn't he? Or is he still on death row?
Oh boy, we got the crack.
I know
staff.
Gacy's gone. I know
Yeah.
Bundy's gone. I know Dahmer's gone.
Ramirez dead, yeah.
Ramirez dead.
2013.
2000. They're all dead.
Yeah. So I would have thought that Jeffrey Dahmer would have just eaten up the competition, but I guess not.
Do we have a boom? Do we have one of those?
The jet was flying
Yeah.
over. Did that get picked up? Because that's like
No, I got picked up.
okay, that's
It
good.
got picked. Yeah, I got picked up. You should use that on the pregame show
The
when the Niners open up. You should
Yeah.
use that one. That would be a good one. Yeah, but no, he like. I think he beat. I think he.
And this is your thing. You came up with this idea, like
Well,
let's
I
have
did, but it's a one. I mean, you can only do one tournament.
Yeah.
Where do you go from here? You can't do it again.
No.
Here, let's do it again.
No.
How can we find more people? And I got to be
Well,
honest,
I'm
it was a little disturbing because we were trying to find more participants, and to have to read through them to get their qualifications, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I really don't want to do this anymore. This is like, oh, they did what? Oh God, I can't do that. I don't want to read anymore. So I guess the only way we could go, if you wanted to go with like mass murders, so you go Hitler, Stalin, Pol Pot, Cambodia, and like you could like who?
Mao.
Yeah, Mao. You could have him in there. So I mean, but do I want to go that route? Based on your face, I'm guessing that's a no. I'm guessing that's a no.
So how about those
I'm gonna
49ers,
I'm
huh?
gonna take it from Matt Maiocco's face. Yeah, don't go that way, Tom. That's probably not
Yeah.
a great. That's probably not a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know of no, okay, never mind. No, I'm gonna switch the subject.
Yeah. Now it's okay. I think it's okay if you do puns with Dahmer. Puns
Yeah.
with Hitler a little harder. They're a little that one
Yeah.
could go sideways a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit more so that like
I'd
it
say-
goes off the rails and then just keeps
I'm
going.
not sure how you hit on those. Oh, Hitler.
Thank you. Yeah, well, I guess I was proven wrong. Go figure. I got Bunny's trying to escape again. So, all right, let's get to. So, I'm gonna jump around.
Yeah, yeah.
From here to there to past to present to whatever hits me.
By the way, I love you have a teleprompter there that's prompting you on all the subjects and how you,
I just, you know how, I work.
how much
You know how, I
how
work.
much like kind of like pre-thought went into this when you and I sit down. Did you ever?
So I always have a good idea
You
of
do,
like
okay.
stuff I want to hit,
Uh-huh.
and then I forget about 80% of it.
Perfect.
And then, generally speaking, your answer a lot of times will lead me to my next question because
Okay,
you'll
yeah,
say
yeah.
something, and I'll think about it, and I go, "Oh, that's interesting. Let's just go down that avenue and explore that." And there are so many times that I'll have stuff that I've written down that I never get to. I just don't get to.
What I've found, like interviewing, is it's a fascinating subject to me. Have you ever watched Hot Ones? It's
Hot
a
Ones.
It's a net.
Oh
it
yeah,
Netflix?
the guy that does the hot sauce stuff.
His interviewing
Yeah.
is so good.
Yeah.
Like he's really good at it, and it's a part of like I love the process of interviewing and like I'm doing this thing. The 49ers asked me to do this thing with Al Guido, the president.
Yeah.
And they asked me like, hey, send me your questions for him.
Okay.
And my thing's like, well, that's not really how it works.
Yeah.
Like I kind of want topics, but only if I get into a bind. Like now, a guy like Al Guido, who's the president of 49ers, he's smooth. He can roll with it and all this. But like for the most part, like
isn't he the guy that had the dogs like behind Pac Bell or AT&T or Oracle?
You're thinking of Dr. Guido.
Yeah, that's who it is. I know.
Close.
I know.
So close. I mean, they look so
Guido
much
may
alike.
have dogs too.
He might.
Yeah, but Guido Sarducci, that's the guy.
But the interviewing process is just about like listening more than asking.
Well, that's what I feel. I don't want to say like I know the interviewing process because I don't. What I don't want this to become is me coming up with 20 questions for you that I know will be good sound bites that I can repackage and use later. If something becomes of that, that's great. But I have an idea of things I want to hit.
Yeah.
And then I just go from there. And that means I'm going to miss some things. I every interview I do, I look back on it and I go, God, I wish I would have gone this. I wish I would have asked that. I wish I would have said that. But my whole thing is start it off with a premise and have a decent idea of where you want to go with it, like what you want to ask. And then just listen and let the interview kind of go where it ends up going. And sometimes that hits what you want to hit. Sometimes it doesn't hit what you want to hit. But I've always felt like there's way too many interviews where I see people ask a question and then look down at their paper. Okay, like what do I want to ask next? And they're not even listening to the answer. So if a great follow-up opportunity hits them in the face, they won't know it,
right?
Because they're not listening. So I've always felt like that is the way I want to do interviewing is listen. And if something comes of that, okay, cool. If it doesn't, pivot to something else. And I always feel like my sports knowledge is such that I can find something to be entertaining without having a piece of paper in front of me. Because I just don't like the piece of paper idea. It's too structured. So, but I felt like your ears, more so than your mouth, are your best tools as an interviewer. That's the way I kind of feel. So
yeah, I agree.
Anyway, what'd you say?
I said, boy, that first time I met Jeffrey Dahmer back in
who met
County
him?
Stadium.
You know who covered him?
Who covered him?
Yeah, so we had.
What does that mean?
We had Chris. You know Chris Rose?
Yeah.
Chris Rose was a reporter. They sent him to Dahmer's house when he was working out of Cleveland. Was it Cleveland or Milwaukee or whatever?
Well,
and he goes,
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee. Yeah. Okay. Was he Cleveland and went to Milwaukee? Maybe he was in Milwaukee. I'm not sure. But yeah, he told us. He goes, oh, yeah. He goes, when I was a young reporter, he goes, it wasn't sports. He goes, they sent me out to this house where there was some stuff going on. And it was Jeffrey Dahmer's house. Like, holy cow. And I had no idea because I was just asking. We had guests on at that point when we were doing the poll. And, you expect like the kind of, what are you doing, Tom? What kind of poll is this? What do you do? And he was like, oh, yeah, I covered. I was like, what? Excuse me? What'd you just say? Yeah, that was wild. That was absolutely wild. Okay, let me get to the Niners this year.
Yep.
So here's what I want to bet this year.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm going to do it, but I want to bet the Niners to win the division.
Okay.
The Niners over 10.5 wins.
Are they favored to win the division?
They are.
Yeah.
They're like plus 155, and the Rams are plus 175. So it's close.
Okay.
And my reason is
so the Rams are favored then?
No.
Well, if the Rams are plus 175.
No, so if you bet 100 on the Rams, you win 175.
I thought you had to bet 175 to win.
No, that's
100.
minus 175. We don't have to worry about you breaking any gambling rules, obviously, because you don't know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah, obviously not.
So the favorite, I'll help you out.
Okay,
here.
Thank you.
So let's say, you know what a dime line is?
No.
Okay, so a dime line is 10%, 10 cents between the favorite and the dog.
Okay.
So if the favorite is minus 150, the underdog's plus 140.
Okay.
You got to bet 150 to win 100 on the favorite.
Yeah.
And 100 to win 140 on the dog. But they're all dogs, I guess, if you want to put it that way. But they're all plus in terms of winning the division because there's not a real strong favorite.
Yeah. Okay.
So the Niners are plus 155, 100 to win 155.
Okay.
Rams are plus 175, 100 to win 175.
Okay.
And then I think the Cardinals are probably like 300 and the Seahawks are 350. It's close.
Right.
I mean, it's really, really close. But their favorite, yeah, go ahead and try that one. That's the Monkish. That's a Monkish pale ale.
Okay. That's Torrance?
Torrance, correct. Very good. Very good. So, one, they're going to be healthier than they were last year. I don't know how long that'll last. So that's not a great thing to throw. Like they're going to be healthier. Yeah, great. But mostly I think they were emotionally, physically, and if you want to say spiritually spent last year, I think they were absolutely spent last year from that three-year run.
And I would say
and motivationally. I think they're going to be motive as well.
I've never seen a team more depressed. Well, I mean, they lost the Super Bowl. I've covered 3 Super Bowl losers.
Well, you're a real charm, aren't you?
2012,
you show up.
2012, 2019, and then 2023, or at least those years, those seasons. The last year in Vegas, it was, you could sense it. Like they were, and even 2 days later in the locker room, you could tell it was. I've never seen George Kittle and he's an eternally optimistic guy. They were shattered by that loss, the overtime loss to the Chiefs. And I think that had a carryover too, a huge carryover effect.
Where do you see them this year? Because last year, obviously, tons of injuries.
Yeah.
And again, I think they were spent from the 3 years going to at least the NFC Championship game. I think they're going to be renewed. I think they're going to be. I understand they lost they lost guys, and we don't know exactly how the rookies are going to be. They still got a lot of really good players on this team. I mean, Purdy, McCaffrey, Kittle, Williams, Warner, Bosa, Lenore. I mean, they're stocked.
Yeah,
I mean,
they are.
They could use more and probably more depth, but I think that and also the schedule. You look at the schedule, you're like, holy. Now, I don't want to read too much into the schedule because NFL things change so quick.
Yeah.
You may look back on it and go, oh, that schedule is harder than we actually thought it was going to be. So, but it's not super difficult. I just think this is a really good chance for them, especially to get their feet wet early and kind of get some momentum. But, I mean, I'm just a big believer in Purdy. I think Purdy's really good, and I think they got enough talent on this team. But I don't know. How do you see him?
I almost think that you mentioned the Rams. If you look at the Rams and the 49ers, the fact that the 49ers are playing the last place schedule is more relevant this year than any other year, because I think there's a huge difference in those divisions where the Rams play the first place team from last year and the 49ers play the last place team. And so if you look at it in this sense, these are 3 games. The Rams play the Eagles.
Yep.
49ers play the New York Giants.
Yep.
That's a huge advantage right there. That's one uncommon opponent. The next one is the NFC North. The Rams play the Ravens. The 49ers play the Browns.
Yep.
Again, big advantage. And then the other one is the NFC North. Rams play the Lions. 49ers play the Bears. So if you're stacking up the 49ers against the Rams, that's a huge advantage. Like they play, so that's 3 games, 14 games, they're playing the same teams. But those 3 games, I think, if it's even close, the pendulum swings significantly toward the 49ers.
No, I agree. I think that's, I would guess a minimum, if you're the Niners, you're not losing that unless you're a bad football team.
Yeah, you're gaining at least one game.
That's what I was thinking: 2-1 to 1-2.
Yes,
and then maybe more.
Maybe 3-0 against 0-3.
It's possibly more. Now, maybe Seattle is better than we think they're going to be with Darnold coming in.
But if you're looking at the Rams, and both teams play Seattle, so it kind of evens out.
Yeah.
But if we're looking at just the Rams against the 49ers, it's a very big difference. Where are the 49ers? I was talking to Chris Sims. I just had him on my podcast.
Okay.
And he said that he thinks the Eagles are the best team of this, I think he said century. And he went through it.
Really?
The Eagles. He said.
So the best team of the last 25 years.
Yeah, and I hadn't thought of it this way, but he said the Eagles have the best offensive line.
Okay.
The best defensive line.
Okay.
He said they probably have the best receiving core.
Was their defensive line better than the 19 Niners defensive
line?
I
think probably what he's saying, he's talking about in today's game.
Okay.
And then he's saying that the overall scope of it makes them the best team.
Okay.
And then he said they have the best running back right now, which I don't disagree with.
Yeah.
He said they have a top 10 quarterback. And he said they have a secondary that's among the best and getting better. And I looked at that and I thought, holy cow, I hadn't thought of it in those terms, but maybe he's right. So his thought was, and I think, we get so caught up in the 49ers.
Yeah.
And the last time we saw the 49ers play the Eagles, the 49ers were dominant and just kind of imposed their will and just crushed them. And so his thing was that if you're looking at the NFC, you have the Eagles way up here. And then you have, these other teams, Commanders, Rams, 49ers, maybe Buccaneers. Yeah. But that kind of opened my eyes to like what other people think of the NFC. And so 49ers don't play the Eagles this year. So if they meet, it would be in the playoffs. And again, who knows where injuries take teams from there. But I thought that was kind of interesting to see that the Eagles, in the eyes of one person, and I respect Chris Sims. I know he's he says stuff that 31 fan bases of 31 teams, or I'd say 32 teams, don't necessarily agree with, but they are, when he said that, I kind of took a step back and tried to look at it objectively, and I thought, you know what? They are the most complete team in the NFL.
Yeah.
And they're coming off a Super Bowl, and they'd have to be the favorite going into this Super Bowl or going into this season.
All right, a couple quick hitters. Does Shanahan win a Super Bowl with the Niners? Not this year.
Yeah.
Throughout the course of his career.
I think it's, his best chance was in 2023.
So he doesn't win a Super Bowl.
It's so difficult to win a Super Bowl. So I would say probably not. Of course, I also thought
but what a downer.
Well,
second Friday.
Do you disagree with me?
Yes, I think he's going to win a Super Bowl with the Niners.
You do.
I do.
What year?
2027. I don't know.
But
I don't know.
The problem is,
I think they're going to keep him.
If you said 2027, then that means that George Kittle's on the downside. It means that McCaffrey's no longer the running back. It means that Bosa's on the, you know what I'm saying?
Well, you're the one that put me on the spot.
Well,
what year? I don't know. I just think he's going to win.
Okay.
While he's here.
I just wonder.
I think he could have an Andy Reid thing.
But you know what happened with Andy Reid?
Well, it's 14 years and got rid of him and let the Chiefs hire him.
Yes. He had to go somewhere else to win a Super Bowl.
Well,
I just think it's really difficult to win a Super Bowl. Obviously.
Yeah, of course.
And even if you have the best team, it's no guarantee you're going to win the Super Bowl. even in that one game, 49. Okay, I could give you 20 reasons why the 49ers did not win that Super Bowl in February of 2024. And it starts with, I did not have Dre Greenlaw blasting out his Achilles on the sideline during the game.
Yeah, coming out the sideline.
And
that was brutal.
Travis Kelce had one catch for 6 yards in the first half, and then he freaking went crazy in the second half. I didn't have John Feliciano leaving the game, and then the guy who replaces him at
Burford
at right guard deciding to go rogue and block up and let Chris Jones step in. I didn't have Christian McCaffrey fumbling on the first series of the game when the team was cruising.
Yeah.
There were so many things that happened. The muff punt off the leg of all these things, brutal. All these things. Like there are, if any,
the Jake Moody blocked extra point.
Yes, if any one of those 7 things, which are just total chance and bad luck, didn't happen, 49ers win that game. Yeah. And we're not having this discussion. So, I mean, does he win a Super Bowl? I mean, you could ask me, do you think Patrick, if you were to make a bet, does Patrick Mahomes win another Super Bowl? I'd probably say no.
I'll say yes.
I'd say no because
he's probably got another 12 years.
He might, but
really?
But also look at Joe Burrow and Josh Allen and Justin Herbert, those are really good guys that he has to go through even to get there.
Yeah,
and then would still have to win. So I don't know. I would almost always take he's probably not going to win a Super Bowl over he's going to win a Super Bowl.
So you're the guy at the craft table that bets that don't pass line.
Oh, 100%.
You're like, craft style, baby. Let's go. New shooter. Matt's over there baby, let's go. 7 out. That's what we like to see over at this table.
I'm gonna have to take another break.
Everybody's like, I'm gonna fuck you up.
Am I gonna take another break?
I don't know. Do you want to take another break?
I got a little tiny bladder. I'm a little guy, Tom.
Are you ready for another break?
Can we do that and then come back?
Wait, what are you talking about?
Jane's
this is my show.
She's loving this.
Jane's like, are we going?
She's like,
Jane's going.
What's the place you want to go to?
Oh, get the fish tacos.
So good.
Those things are incredible. The fish tacos
they could be
are incredible.
The next sponsor.
All right, let's take a break. We'll do like 5 more minutes. We'll get you out of here.
You mean
like 20
an hour
minutes,
and 5 minutes?
Like an hour, like 3 more hours.
Okay,
and then we'll be good to go.
Perfect.
All right, coming up more with Matt Maiocco. All right, back for a couple more minutes with Matt Maiocco, who's gracious enough. I keep asking Matt, do you have to go anywhere? He's like, no, I'm good. Let's just keep drinking beer. I think Matt's thinking, as well am I, like, hey, we'll just sit back here and drink beer.
This is good.
It's good beer.
It's very good beer.
You're not going to be on another podcast that has this selection of beer.
Not
ever.
A chance.
Not going to happen.
Not this Jen Sturger podcast. Not the Rachel Hollis podcast.
Yeah, I'm going to guess the Jen Sturger podcast. The liquids are a little bit different than the. No,
Well,
yeah, I know that's a little. It seemed that came off as a little funky. I gotta be honest. Gotta be honest with you. All right, let me ask you this.
I'm sure we'll edit that out.
So you say, oh no, we don't edit stuff out. So no to the 49ers Super Bowl under Shanahan.
Well, I mean,
that's okay. I mean, I think you're betting with smart money.
But I'll say this: in was it 2002? I thought there's to your California Angels.
Yeah.
If the Giants didn't win it in 2002, they'll never win a World Series.
Yeah, you were close on that one. They only won 3.
Yeah, but. You know what I'm saying? Like I grew up in Northern California as a Giants fan through and through that never sniffed a championship. And when they had a 3-run lead in the 7th inning of a deciding game,
3?
Game 6.
Try 5.
Was it a 5-run lead?
5-0.
When they blew that, I thought.
And I know because I had them at 20-1.
Oh,
damn! I can't. I'm getting jobbed here.
You didn't have the.
We had JT Snow on Wednesday.
You were. Oh my gosh! The JT Snow story about the mound conversation
wasn't that incredible?
Unbelievable,
wasn't it? Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, wow. Now I'm not sure. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, Dusty blew it," or "Oh, Russ Ortiz should have." I'm like, I've always wondered, like, okay. Do I want my pitcher to say, get off my fucking mound, get out of here, I got the ball? Or do I want him to be honest with me? Like, if he doesn't have it, and I have a guy who has it and is warmed up and ready to go, he's hot, and F-Rod was, like, fantastic all year.
Right.
So do you want a guy to lie to you?
Just throw something else.
Like, there's part of me that wants the guy to lie to you.
Yeah.
Right? There's part of me that wants an athlete that's like, yeah, screw it, I got this. But what if he didn't have it?
Right.
What if he was the one that gave up the 3-run home run? He could have.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible that he gave up the 3-run home run.
That's a great thing about sports.
But the interaction was the interaction.
So you know what? I co-hosted on a radio station. Like I haven't done it much, but one of the days I did it, Russ Ortiz was a guest.
Oh, really?
Whatever, called in. And so I asked him about that, and I was like, I don't know if this ever has been asked of him. I'm sure it has been, but I asked him about, that ball. So, Dusty takes him out of the game after, JT says that he gave 3 bad answers in a row, and then Dusty gave him the ball, and Russ still has that ball, and it's in a very prominent place in his house because it reminds him of a really, a great moment. It's like he doesn't consider it as anything that was a negative. He sees it as he did his job well done in a pressure-packed moment. And so it's not like any sort of like shame on him. It's like this represents that I did my job. And it could have been great. It wasn't, but
no way I would display that ball. I just wouldn't, because it reminds me of we lost. Ultimately, we lost. Who cares what happens in 6 1/3 or 6 2/3 or whatever it was? Like we lost. Like I might keep it. I might not. I don't know. But if you don't win, it's like who cares at that point? Remember JT Snow hit the 3-run home run against some Mets at home? They clanked off the top.
Oh my God, that was incredible!
And what happens? They end up losing the game, losing the series.
I almost got decapitated.
What?
Because of that. Yeah.
How?
Well, I was at.
Were you at the game with your 4 friends again?
So that was no. Well, that was that 2000? That was the first year of. Was that the first year?
It might have been. It might have been.
So I was at, local tap right down the
Yeah.
street. Yeah. So we were there. Was it off Benitez? Who was the pitcher for the Mets?
Yes, I think it was. I say that like I'm positive. I'm not positive, but I think it was. Yeah,
because there's no way that anyone can fact check us on that. Yeah. Like there's no records.
Ralph loved Benitez, by the way, when he pitched for the Giants. Oh.
But when he hit that home run, 3-run homer in was it the 9th or the 8th?
God,
whatever. It was like
it was epic. That place was nuts.
I jumped up on my chair, and this is at local tap, and I started to jump, and there are the Rotary fans above me, and my I don't let's see, were we married? I think we were 2 months from being married. My wife grabbed me around the waist because she saw like the Vic Morrow thing happening, and she grabbed me. You know that reference? Yeah. She grabbed me around the waist and like kind of dragged me down, or else I might have met my demise.
Wow.
Yeah.
That means no Jane. No, nothing. Good thing.
The world would
good
not
job,
have
Mom.
been blessed with
Good
her.
job, Mom.
Yeah. Oh, and a Jane story.
Yeah.
Okay. So
we love Jane stories. Let's go.
This is. I don't know if Jane. I think Jane knows this story. So
I hope she does. Hope you're not springing one on her.
So 2000.
By the way, Jane's here. Give it up for
Here we
Jane.
go.
That's Matt's daughter who graduated from University of New Hampshire about 3 weeks ago?
Yeah,
3 weeks ago. So that's very, very cool.
So we were,
and hopefully she knows this story.
She might. I don't know if she does or not.
All right, let's roll the dice.
2002.
See what happens.
Sarah, my wife, was pregnant.
Okay.
And we started to talk about names, and we wanted to not know sex of the child until the child pops out.
Absolutely. That's how we were.
So we started talking about this, and in, I would say, April, May, and Jane was a mid-November due date, I said, if the Giants win the World Series, we have to name our child after the hero of the World Series.
Okay.
Fair enough, right?
What year was that?
2002.
Okay.
That was the Angels World Series.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so we didn't know, boy or girl.
Were you actually going to go with Shawan?
We were thinking maybe Benito.
Shawan Maiocco.
Or Barry. And then JT Snow rescues Darren Baker.
That's right.
And we were going to go all in on JT Maiocco.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, of course, the Giants lose. And we were like, okay, how can we do this? Is he Jack Thomas? I think he
sounds good to me.
Yeah. We got our fact checkers there. I think he's Jack Thomas.
Okay.
Jack Thomas.
It is.
So we were going to go Jack Thomas.
Junior.
Well, we were going to do
Jack
Junior.
Snow, the Rams receiver.
Yes. Yep. But we didn't know what JT stood for until just now. So anyway, Jane was going to be Jack Thomas Maiocco, but then the Giants lost, and our child wasn't a boy; it was a girl, and so there's a lot of moving parts here. So we went with Jane Maiocco.
That'd have been great if you'd had a girl named Shawan.
Or Benito.
Shawan Dunston.
Yeah.
Maiocco.
Yeah.
That'd have been fantastic.
Do you know that story?
Can I fill?
Yeah. Okay. She knows that story. Oh, hold on.
Finish your damn beer. Like we're very. Let's go. There you go. Drink your Tenma. Matt said, "Have you ever heard of Tenma?" I go. Not only have I heard of them, I have one in the fridge. You kidding me? Tenma over in Emeryville is fantastic. Fantastic.
Is it
brewery.
Emeryville or is it Oakland or Berkeley? I can never.
That's a great question. I think it's Emeryville, but it could be. I guess it could be Oakland.
You know what I love?
It's on San Pablo. I just know how to get there.
Every time we say something that's somewhat in dispute, I see these two guys
they're
just
like, boom.
We're on this.
We got it. Oakland. Is it in Oakland? Okay.
Technically, but it is on San Pablo.
Okay.
Maybe you do a segment like after the show, like, okay, now we'll fact check.
No, we don't fact check. Oh yeah, Lou. It's time for the mount. Mount up. Let's go. Lulu, come here. Lulu, come here. Lulu. You get 15 to 20.
Wow.
Let's go. Okay. Come here. Okay, sit. Be good. Okay, a couple questions.
A lot of people have to pay for that much affection. Like good money.
Look at her. Oh, she just vomited. Fantastic.
Oh, gee.
That was you. That was you.
She just
What kind of cologne are you? What kind of cologne you wearing? Jesus.
God, thank God she didn't vomit.
She's licking it up now. God damn it.
No.
Look what you started.
How did I start that?
Oh, God. That's so sick. Now, what are you going to do? Show her licking her vomit up? Come on.
Is this really happening?
And we got a bunny digging over here. We got a damn dog over here. I mean, it's just Lulu. Come on. Jeez. No, don't. Now go lick Matt. Go jump up.
Do not lick Matt.
Go jump up and lick him. Oh my God. All right. Quick hitters on the way out. Sports hero growing up.
Sports hero growing up. I think Willie McCovey. Yeah, I don't know why. I was.
Well, he was pretty good.
Well, no. Meaning, there was no why. There was no
McCovey.
connection. I was not a first baseman. I was not a power hitter. But
you weren't black.
To my knowledge,
no, you're not. No, you're pretty white.
Thank you.
You're not as white as me, but maybe you're whiter than me.
I think I might be whiter than you. Your legs are tan.
Yeah, they're too tan.
Yeah,
because I'm like a dermatologist. Like, go to the dermatologist. They're just like,
oh wow, yeah, no, trust me, I've been there. I've had my issues.
Yeah, it's not good. No, I love Willie McCovey. I thought
he
was the most intimidating hitter of that era. Like, he got up, he was like David Ortiz a little bit, and like Alvarez of the Astros right now. They just get up there and you're like, oh, this guy just looks like he's going to hit a home run. That was Willie McCovey. Yeah. He was just like, oof.
Yeah, McCovey was so heroes or sports heroes growing up. I was a baseball guy. I loved baseball. The pace of it.
Yeah.
I loved that you could see the guys. Like, football is kind of weird in the sense that it's hard to connect to the individual unless you know the individual.
Yep.
Because they're armored up. Basketball is great because you see the body language and you get to feel like you know them.
Yeah.
But yeah, McCovey was far and away the guy. And then as I got a little bit older and I was a baseball player, not a good one, but a baseball player, Robbie Thompson was somebody that I was just like my guy. Yeah. Like, he was kind of like my game, like defense, try to hit a little, try to do everything the right way. So yeah, those are the two guys. Football. Paul Hofer?
Yes, of course. Yes.
Yeah. So he was kind of a shooting star.
Yep.
But a really good running back that just had, the knee issues during those times that Candlestick, like the artificial turf, was horrendous. Like, it was so bad. And he was a really good player right around the time they brought in O.J. Simpson.
Yeah.
But, Dwight Clark. Dwight Clark.
Yes.
I remember, I can visualize right now where I was, time of the catch, and then to get to know him like on a really personal level. It's one of those things in my life where I remember just kind of like seeing him when he was not doing well. I was with him like 2 weeks before he passed away. And I remember just walking out there going, I just can't believe this. I can't believe, what I'm seeing now and how our lives have intersected. Because that was when he made that catch, was 82, January 10th of 82. I was 15, not even 15 years old. And then to become friends with him and a confidant of his like that. That probably is, when I look back on everything, that's like the craziest part to me, that a guy who I admired as a very young kid, I became friends with and was able to
such a good guy too.
Stay friends with.
Yeah, such a good guy.
So good.
Such a good guy.
Can I tell one?
Yeah.
Clark story?
No, go ahead.
So in 90, was it 95? I think it was my first year on the beat. One of the first things, like, Dwight was awesome from day one. So he was the general manager of the 49ers. And I think the first time I met him, or, hey, I'm going to be covering this team from now on, he gave me his cell number and he said, hey, just so you know, I'll always be available to you. You can always call me. I will never lie to you, but I might not tell you all the truth all the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's perfect. That's all I want to know. I just don't lie to me. You might not be able to tell me all the truth, but that's great. So that first year that the Carolina Panthers were in the NFL, they played at Clemson Stadium. So 49ers go to Clemson. They're an expansion team, the Carolina Panthers. They're playing at Clemson Stadium. And I'm in the press box, and I think it was me and Brian Murphy. Brian Murphy can confirm this story. See Dwight Clark, and we're like, Dwight, man. Dwight played at Clemson. And you remember Dwight. Dwight was as handsome.
Yep.
I mean, he was a good-looking guy.
I mean, not Matt Maiocco handsome.
No, of course not. I mean, very few people are. So I think like Brian or me, we say to Dwight, and he's kind of overlooking the field. I was like, boy, I bet this brings back some memories, huh? And he was like, oh, man, I scored a lot on that field right there. We're like, and we're like, that must be great. And then I thought, like, hold it. Like, he wasn't a great college football player. And I think I looked it up, or like, he had like 2 touchdowns his entire career at Clemson. And I said, Dwight, like, you only scored like 2 touchdowns, on this field. And he was like, oh, I wasn't talking about football.
Not shocking. Not shocking. That's Dwight Clark. That's Dwight Clark right there. Oh, I love that story. I love it. All right, couple more. The one meal your mom made that you couldn't wait to get to the dinner table for.
Not often. And my mom, Maiocco is Italian. A lot of people think that Maiocco, you hear the name, it's Japanese.
Yeah.
I'm not. No, I'm Italian.
That's what my wife said. She goes, is he Japanese? I go, I'm pretty sure no. I'd hate to commit to anything, but
okay.
I've seen Matt quite a bit. I'm pretty sure he's not a member of the Yakuza.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm not Japanese. So Italian, but my dad 100% Italian. And so my mom, not Italian, but she did this one dish, and it's called malfatti.
Malfatti.
Malfati.
Okay.
And so what it basically is a gnocchi, but it's spinach gnocchi.
Okay.
And so it's all in the sauce, the tomato sauce, kind of whatever, boiled down, and it's great. And as a kid, I thought that this was like some sort of meat, but it's a spinach gnocchi. It's I've never seen it on a menu, but anytime we had it, like that was her one Italian dish, and it was absolutely phenomenal.
Did your dad know any mob members?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But it was mysterious enough that I can't confirm nor deny.
Yeah. Okay. What was the one meal your mom made that you didn't want to come to the dinner table?
Oh, that's easy. That is very easy.
Uh-oh.
Oh, wow. Okay. First off, I'm gonna give you a little bit of background. I'm pretty sure Mom's not watching this, so I can tell this story.
Oh, I can almost guarantee you Mom's not watching
Yeah,
this.
I can.
And if she was, she begged off a long time ago.
Yes,
she's not hanging in for the whole 3 hours.
So my mom, I grew up in a very rural area, and my mom was deep south. And so
where at?
She was born in Arkansas.
Okay.
But she had a really rough life. She bounced around. My mom was an only child, and her parents were what they called I think it's called fruit tramps. They would go wherever.
Fruit tramps.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
wherever
the fruit was growing.
Wherever the fruit was growing.
Okay.
So they bounced around the country.
They used to say, "Pick my strawberry, tramp."
Absolutely.
Get over there.
Kind of, yeah.
Probably
and so they went
like
all
that.
over. I mean, they like.
I give you 17 cents an hour.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Yeah.
They like. I would say, "Hey, I'm going to Flathead Lake in Montana with my family," and she's like, "Oh, we picked apples there or whatever it was." Like she moved around the country and it's just wherever the work was. But this one kind of funny story was we were, and it kind of, I mean, it's endearing to me, and it's also, we laughed and we still laugh about this, is that we were going through my mom and my kids, Jane and Lucy, and my wife, Sarah. We were driving through this park in Mount Shasta, and this huge squirrel ran across the road as we were driving by. And my mom said, "Oh my God, did you see that squirrel?" I was like, "Yeah, my God, that thing's huge." And she goes, "Now, are those the ones that are good eating?" And we all turned and said, "What are you talking about?" But that's where my mom came from.
Oh my God.
Like, it's a different world. Like she, in her,
Did you eat squirrel?
never ate squirrel. But if she had put that on my plate, I don't think I would have eaten it.
Wow.
So my point is that would have been the one dish that if she had put that in front of me, I would have ran the other way.
Oh God. Okay. What's the most trouble you got into?
You're just gonna move on from that.
No. What's the most trouble you got into as a kid?
Okay.
What did you do? And what punishment did you receive?
So I grew up in a really, really small area. Corning, California, but
Corning, California.
But it's a suburb of Corning.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's smaller than
It's
Corning.
a suburb of Corning.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's the way I like to.
What is it like? Population 6?
In my 8th grade class, there were 12 kids. We
12.
had kindergarten for a 4-room building.
Yep.
Kindergarten, 1st and 2nd in one room, 3rd and 4th,
Liz
5th and
is-
6th. Oh, and she just
like,
vomited.
let's go.
She just vomited.
He goes, "You want some of this vomit tongue?"
And
don't
she's
you?
like,
Let's
"I got
go."
some squirrel
Lulu,
for you."
Lulu, come here. Come here. You can come. I can handle you. She knows I can handle her, so she doesn't want to come out with me.
So I didn't get in
Oh,
much.
the vomit's gone.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
because
good.
it's in her stomach and probably on her breath as well.
Well, at least I don't have to spray it down later on, so we're good with that. While Bunny's still digging in the background. Okay, so
Most so I didn't get in much.
so graduating class of 12.
Yeah, in
Town
8th
of like
grade.
20.
I
Okay.
didn't get in much. I was kind of I had 2 older brothers who got in most of the trouble, but I do remember this one time. This kind of at the Richfield ham dinner, kind of a big deal.
Excuse me, the Ridgefield
Richfield, that's the town,
Richfield,
or
okay.
not even the town, the community.
ham dinner.
Ham dinner.
What is that?
It was a ham dinner. Like, we would raise money for the school
Okay.
by having a ham dinner.
You had 20 people in the town. How much money could
Exactly.
you raise?
I don't know.
Like
I'm,
$4?
I'm guessing
By like
100
eight, by like 8
120
pencils for the
$125.
school.
But
Like,
this was like Tom, this was like the big deal.
Okay,
Like,
it's
I'm-
a Richfield ham dinner.
like 4th grade.
Okay.
It's like dressed to the nines,
Okay.
which to me is like I'm wearing pants, I'm wearing a nice shirt, and let's go forward 40 years. I'm somewhere with my mom and one of our like teacher's aides who's like 80 years old, who my mom knew. She said, "Oh, do you remember my son, Maddie?" That's my name, Maddie.
Yeah.
And this lady who's 80 years old says, "Oh, I remember Maddie. He was full of piss and vinegar." And I was like, "Was I full of piss and vinegar? I don't even know what that means, but sure, I was full of piss and vinegar." So I was, as a young kid, I was like, going 100 miles an hour. Nobody lived within a half mile of us. So I was like, it's not a lot going on in my life, but the ham dinner was like the one thing I like. We dress up, we go to ham dinner. And I remember my parents saying, "Okay, just behave yourself. Just be calm. Like, just, we're in this.
Don't be a spaz.
Don't be a
dinner.
spaz."
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, that's exactly what they said. So I'm like, okay, this ham dinner, like this, I got to do something. This is not like doing my thing. And so I remember at some point, I just had to kind of break out of what we call the multi-purpose room.
Okay.
And go outside. And it was dark, but not kind of. And we used to do this thing where, the swing set, and we'd like go running full speed into the swing set and dive into the seat.
Oh yeah.
And then go like Superman.
Yes.
Superman.
Yeah, I used to do that.
Yeah. So I'm like, my parents just freaking behave today. And I busted out, ran onto the playground, and did the Superman thing, but it was dark and I misjudged my leap, and it had just rained, the day before, and I went face splat into, the little cup where there's like, it's like mud and dirt. And I came out, put it this way. If someone took a picture of me when I came out of that, I would be canceled forever. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I came back.
You were Ted Danson.
I came back, and I'm now at this point I'm crying.
Oh, the whoopee made me.
I'm like 3rd, 4th grade. I'm crying. Like I just went complete mud. And I came into this room where, my parents just don't fuck it up today, right? And I come into this room and they saw me and they were like, "What the hell?" But there was no punishment because they were laughing their ass off too. So I thought like this is the biggest.
Well done.
Like
well done.
I'm in so much trouble because I went out of my realm. I did this, and
well done.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done. All right. Did the Niners win the division? Yes or no?
I think they do.
All right. Fantastic.
Yeah.
It's time for you to go to Chilito Lindo.
Oh my gosh.
Jane's been wanting to go. Jane's like, "Let's go."
Yeah.
And I highly recommend it.
Yeah. I think
Fantastic
Jane's going,
place.
"Gosh, I wish this show would last for another."
You know what
4
Jane's
hours.
thinking? She's like, "Holy shit. We've been here. What are you doing? That was a podcast. Those things last like 20 minutes. We've been here 3 hours." Jane, you get to watch the bunny dig, though. That's a bonus.
Do we get to take the bunny home?
Nope. Nope. You can't take
I
my
thought that
animals
was-
home. Look, you
And-
cannot take the. You want some of my kids? Feel free. But you're not taking my animals home, okay?
I love
My animals
Lulu,
are
but I
mine.
don't want to take Lulu home either.
Yeah. No, you don't want to take Vomit Face home.
Oh,
Yeah, you didn't get a chance to meet the cats.
no.
They're in there somewhere. And then the bunny has just been all over the place. I haven't even got up to go look over there in the corner to see what damage she's. Yeah. Thanks, Max. I appreciate it. Yeah. What does it look
Oh my
like
God.
over there?
No, she's
Oh
still.
my God. You know what it looks like? It looks like somebody dropped one of those fucking like a drone strike in my yard. In my yard over there, there was like an implosion.
Yeah.
It's like Patriot games, like fucking like it's like whoa. Not sure what that was, but that she's gonna disappear here in a minute. I'm just gonna see her.
Tenma right here?
Yes,
This is good.
that's
You know what? I'll say
that's a
this.
pale ale.
All these beers
Here, hand me the.
have been really good.
I'm gonna send you home with some more. It's a New Zealand style pale ale onward from yesterday.
I think you'll love this story. Ray Ratto, like,
I love any story starting with Ray Ratto. If you go, you're gonna love this story, and you say
well,
Ray Ratto,
it's
I'm
not,
like, of course I'm gonna love that
it's
story.
It's not a great story. Oh, actually,
no, it involves Ray Ratto.
Okay.
Oh
so
shit.
So I
How long is this story?
No,
because I'm gonna get another beer.
I'll make it.
I saw you put your beer down.
I'll try to make it.
Do I need another beer?
I'll try to make it as quick as possible. So
Jane's
Ray,
like, are you kidding me? I want to go to Chile Lindo. What are you doing?
I'll say this about
put your
Ray.
beer down.
I'm not super great about maintaining friendships. Like I can be better, and I think
we all could be better.
I would love to strive toward being better about just connecting with people. Ray's pretty good about just randomly giving me a call.
Yeah,
and so this was about less than a month ago. Warriors were playing. Who were they playing? Who'd they play in the first round?
Who'd they play?
They played the Rockets.
Well, it was Houston. Yeah.
So
Houston.
they beat the Rockets and then they lost. Okay.
Yep.
So it was it might have been a Timberwolves game. Anyway, it was right around that time. So he gives me a call, just completely out of the blue, and we talk, and he says, "Hey, we need to get together sometime." I was like, "Absolutely." And I go, "Hold it. What are you doing today?" "Nothing." I go, "Well, let's meet at Tinma." And I was like, let's do it. Let's go.
Who said let's meet
well,
at Tinma?
I said,
you said let's meet at Tinma?
Only because I'd never
Did
heard
you
it.
know?
No, had
You
no
had
idea.
No idea.
But
it's not a place where you like roll up to and meet. It's a little, I don't want to say dodgy, but it's not. It's on San Pablo.
Yeah, it is.
It's a warehouse.
But someone
like
had
a
told me
shack.
like
I like it.
Someone told me like Tinma is like a really good beer.
It is,
and it's going
Absolutely.
to be a good beer for a while.
Yeah, no, I like Tinma a lot.
So I told Ray, I said, let's meet at Tinma. So we meet there, or so I'm driving there.
Ray met you at Tinma
at like on an hour's notice.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So as I'm driving there, my daughter Lucy, University of Oregon, calls, and she says,
"Quack."
She says, "What are you up to?" And I go, "Well, I'm actually driving to meet Ray Ratto." And she goes, "Oh my God, that is the most random thing I've ever heard."
She was too?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, she's in
I thought Ray
Eugene.
was in Eugene or something.
No.
I was like, holy shit.
So she says, and I don't know that she's even met Ray Ratto, but she knows of the legend of Ray Ratto. And she says, "Tell Ray I miss him." And I'm like, oh my God, that is like the greatest thing that I can like tell Ray Ratto, because it will lead him to something spectacular.
I'm sure he embraced it.
So
he didn't come out with something snarky.
So I meet Ray Ratto at Tinma. We have one beer.
Yep.
And
that's it. You drove all the way to Tinma for one beer.
You know what? A little of Ray goes a long way. If we're going to be honest here. Are you going to?
But I mean, you drove to Tinma.
Well,
a couple beers.
It's a
Did you at least pick up a 4-pack to
7.
go?
Oh, no, absolutely.
Okay.
But we didn't like drink it in a park. We didn't like drink it in like paper bags or anything. Okay. So then I
By the way, sidetrack.
Yeah.
I think his daughter Meredith went to Oregon.
I think she did.
I think she did.
Yes.
So there you go. You got that in common.
Yeah. So then I tell Ray, I go, hey, and I tell, like, I pull out my phone and I'm recording this.
Yeah.
And I go, Ray, my daughter Lucy, when I told her that I'm going to meet you for beer, she said that she misses you or whatever. She misses you. And then I hit record and then he went off. The only way that you could be upset that you miss me is if you were a bus driver and you were trying to kill me. You're a liar. You're a thief. You're worse than your dad. I mean, it went on and on and on. And when he was done, I end. I sent it to Lucy, and it was like the greatest
she
thing.
loved it.
Oh, she
right?
thought
She
it was the greatest thing.
She
ever.
loved it. I mean, he could have done the Ray Ratto classic. He could have just said, "Eat a bag of dicks."
Thankfully, he did not say that to my 20-year-old daughter.
But unfortunately, I said that in front of your other daughter.
Yeah,
so I apologize for that. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I just got to do what I do.
Yeah,
and then I apologize later.
It's what you do. Oh, by the way,
yes,
you asked about my mom's cooking.
Yeah,
okra.
I hate okra.
Is the worst thing.
It's the worst.
So
it's awful.
I talked to you about her southern roots.
Yeah.
Anytime it was okra, so freaking bad. Okra is the worst thing ever.
I hated okra, but lima beans were the worst. Lima beans were awful.
Huh. Yeah, that doesn't.
Yeah,
upset
lima beans.
My stomach.
I hated eating lima beans. I used to, because I had to stay at the dinner table until I finished eating. I couldn't get up, so I used to take the lima beans, and there was a ledge underneath the table. I'd line them up on the ledge, and then come back and get them later.
Underneath?
Yep.
Really?
Yep. Come back and get them later. Or if we had milk, I'd spit them into the milk so no one could see them. Then I'd dump them out real quick. I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. I could not.
Would lima beans make you go Lulu?
Yes.
Really?
They would. Yeah. I don't know if I vomited, but I would faux vomit, like Jim Carrey, like one of those type deals.
You pay these guys by the hour. Like, how does this work?
No.
Do you pay them?
Yeah. Well, nobody gets paid so far. What are you talking about? I don't even get paid. I can't pay them with air. So,
come on. The Steve Kerr 58,000 views got you paid.
Well, look, no, it didn't.
What does that mean?
I don't know what it means. I just know, look, I have not received a cent yet. None of us have. That's the point, though. At some point, hopefully it will, but whatever. I'm just having a good time right now.
This is great.
I'm just having fun.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. Jane's like, can we fucking go now? Yeah, I'm kind of hungry. I want to get
this is the worst tacos. Day of my life.
What are you getting at the Chilito Lindo? Do you know?
Usually steak tacos.
Oh, she's getting a steak tacos. The fish tacos are
good.
I just love the steak. The fish tacos are incredible.
That's good days at the Maiocco household if we're eating steak tacos.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
I'll probably watch her eat.
What? You're not gonna eat yourself?
Well, I'll probably drink another beer. She's my designated driver.
Jesus Christ. We could add more beer.
Ever tell you the Dennis Saracen story?
No, please do. All right. One more story, apparently. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, okay. Oh, gosh. No,
you started
No, it's not him. It's another former 49ers coach.
Okay.
We used to have this thing called the Beat Writers Dinner where all the beat writers would meet with the head coach after the season. This hasn't happened for several years now, many years, decade. And there was one coach who, when we came to this dinner, and this one was at Perry's on Union Street in San Francisco. And so they kept bringing plates out in front of us. Is that Bunny?
Not the squirrel. I was watching it walk across. I didn't know if you'd notice it or not. That squirrel was just jumping across. No, that's not mine. Okay, that's it's a feral. It's a feral squirrel.
Do we know where Bunny is?
That's not captive.
Are those the ones you eat?
No. Are those the ones that are good eating?
Are those the ones that are good eating? Yeah, I wouldn't know. Bunny's around here somewhere. I have no idea.
Do we know?
Finish your goddamn story.
Oh, God. Oh,
so you can go to Chilito Lindo. Or Jane's actually going to kill you.
Yeah, okay. Maybe we should wrap it up right now.
Well, don't finish the story.
Dang it.
You can't start the story and stop it.
So,
Coach's dinner.
It was, why aren't you eating your food? And the line was, some days you have to decide whether you're going to eat or drink. And tonight I'm drinking.
Who said that?
I'm not going to say who
you
said
can't
that.
say. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But do you agree with that?
Is that your story?
Well, no, I'm just saying.
I mean, you fucking we could have gone. I mean, we didn't need that story. You fucking just threw that story out there.
But do you?
No, you can eat and drink.
Yeah,
you can eat and drink. Like you can always eat and drink. Like unless you're 40 or younger, you're like thinking I'm going to drink. It's like no, you always eat because it mitigates the alcohol. Like no, who after 40? Okay, 45, maybe 46. Who wants to like be hammered? I drink these beers because I like the taste of them. I don't drink them because I want to get drunk. I hate getting drunk. I don't like getting drunk. When I was like 30, I was like, oh, let's go rage, baby.
Yeah.
Let's really get. And if you gave me the choice, alcohol or food, I'm like, give me alcohol. Like if I'm in Vegas, I'm with my boys. I'm like, let's go. Oh, but now I'm like, no, I'm doing both. I'm not going to drink. Like I will drink and then I'll go, shoot, I haven't eaten yet. I got to start eating. I got to get something in my stomach. So I don't no.
Jane's only seen me drunk really one time.
What time was that?
It was a wine party.
You're really like.
Yeah, we're saying it all.
Jane's into one of these.
She's like, Dad, you're giving too much information.
It out. Wine party, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
that's about it.
It happens to the best of us.
Are you a wine guy?
No, I hate wine.
Really?
I don't hate wine. I just don't drink wine.
Yeah.
I was. I didn't make it upstairs. I had a fan blowing on me. Kids got a chance to watch me.
For your wine night?
Huh?
You didn't make it upstairs?
Well, it was Lori's 40th. And I didn't make it upstairs because it just seemed like too long of a trek. So
it is a long.
I just laid down on the carpet. I asked somebody if they get the fan and blow it on me, put a blanket over me, and I just slept downstairs.
You asked somebody to put a fan on you?
Yeah.
Like who'd you enlist for that job?
Whoever was in the house.
Was it Bunny?
I don't even know if I knew their name.
Was it Lulu?
No, I'm pretty sure it wasn't either of them. They weren't born back then.
Was it this thing?
So no, it wasn't Michael Myers. It wasn't Michael Myers. No, I was it was Lori's 40th, and I had somebody drive.
So it was
me
like
home.
2 years ago.
Yes, 2 years ago. Let's say 2 years ago. Well done.
By the way,
and I
met Lori for the first time today.
Yes.
She is. Here's my observation.
Yes.
Usually, it's opposites. It seems to me like you and Lori are both extroverts, and usually
she's definitely more of an extrovert than I am.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you you're not an introvert?
No, I'm not an introvert, but she's like really extroverted.
Yes.
Like she loves like going to concerts and being around people and like dancing and doing all that kind of stuff. But I'm not as much. I think I get a lot of it out when I'm doing the interviews and talking to people and stuff like that. But when I'm off the air, I'm not, man.
You're
just
chill.
Kind of like, I'm just chill. I just like to let me just sit back and do my thing. And
because I don't know what I don't know what I
I
expected, but I thought because of your persona, I would have thought like your wife would be more reserved.
Oh no,
yeah,
she's definitely more extroverted than I am.
That's interesting.
Absolutely, a lot more hair too. But then again, that's most people on planet Earth have a lot more.
Now, are you including the hair on your back or?
No, I don't have any hair on my back. I'll show you right now. I don't care.
No, I don't want to see.
USA. I don't want to take my USA shirt. I didn't know if I was going to wear this today. I was like, I don't know. Every time you wear something USA, it's like, oh, you MAGA? I'm like, no, I'm just wearing a USA shirt, for God's sakes. I'm not going to let them co-op my USA shirt. I got this. I get to wear it like twice a year, July 4th, and then a random day.
And whenever you have Matt Maiocco on your
the
Tom Tolbert show. Who designed your logo? That's a good logo.
Ogden found somebody.
Was it AI?
Logo. No, it wasn't AI. We had a girl do it.
A graphic designer.
Yeah,
it's good.
No, it's
good
clean.
Logo. Yeah,
we're trying to come up with something that maybe we can do for everybody. Has hats and stuff, and we'll do that at some point. But come up with a logo like T squared or double T.
Yeah,
for a hat. So it's not the Tom Tolbert show, but I don't know. I kind of like the Texas Tech hat, but that might be copyright infringement or whatever it is. So
I think it's good that it says Tom Tolbert.
You like that?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I do like it.
I don't know. I'm just fucking, we're just doing what we do. I don't even know if it's working, but we're having a good time.
Yes, we
All
are.
right. Thank you. Go to Cholita Lindo. Get yourself some food.
We are going to do that.
Okay, you've had some beer now. Get some food.
Yes.
You got to mix. You're an adult now. You can mix both of them.
Did you say I'm a dolt or I'm an adult?
Whatever works for you. Works for me. Thank you, Matt.
All right. Thanks,
Appreciate it, brother.
Okay.
All right. Coming up, we'll be back at you next week. Not sure when, not sure which guest, but we will keep you informed on Twitter. Like, subscribe, do what you got to do. Don't really give a shit, but I would appreciate it, and Matt would appreciate it too.
Like, follow, subscribe.
Is that how you do it? Is that how you do it?
Well, I'm doing it for you. I know you don't like to do that.
No, I don't.
Subscribe to this guy.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. All right, everybody have a great weekend. See ya.